Gio, can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now?
Greetings, children of God.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome, Eunice. Welcome,
Yes,
Wella, welcome.
Can you
hear
hear
us?
us now?
Let us know.
Please let us know if you can hear us. So click the like button and let us know that you can hear us. Please.
Can you hear us?
If you can hear us, please.
Okay.
You can hear us. Oh, bless Jesus. Bless the Lord.
How are you all doing today?
Greetings, everybody. Greetings.
I hope you are all doing well.
And Gio, what's going on? Where is the Bible, please? We have to commence to this. Mommy Gio, you left the Bible far away. Please put the Bible close by.
It's close by. It's close by. It's close by.
Halloween? What, Eunice?
This is not Halloween. Today we have a topic, and the common sense is that we dress according to the occasion.
You have to respect the presence
of the occasion.
Of the general overseers. We are the general overseers. I am Daddy Gio.
I am Mommy Gio today.
Gio. Please, this is not Halloween. Was last week.
This is not Halloween. Please, Happy New Month, everybody.
If you don't respect me, respect the emblem of God.
And the beard.
Respect. Respect it.
One thing you have to know about the common sense sisters, we say, once there's a show, best believe we are dressing up for that show. The theme of today is where we are dressed like this.
Perhaps we have to go into the house of God for people to take us more seriously.
Now we're in the church.
This is a very serious occasion. Please. As you come in, hit the like button, please.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Share the video.
Please,
because put it in your church WhatsApp group.
We're on Facebook tonight.
We're also streaming for Facebook.
Today's a serious ministry. Everybody they laugh.
I don't know why they laugh.
Anyways, the announcement of the day.
Special service. Sorry, you know sometimes.
This
no, Lima.
This is your shoulder pad. These are falling apart. This is apart. Welcome. You're not late.
You're not late.
You are not late.
We're about to do our church announcement.
Somebody said the church is
our
huge.
Ministry announcements. Yes, these are the people in the background, so we can't keep the people waiting.
Yeah.
So, announcements. First of all, squad obligations. Normally, today we're going to be talking about spiritual abuse in Africa. And these are the rules of today's game. Anybody can click on the link when we finish talking to join the panel. Number one, be respectful, be open-minded, stay on topic, don't use bad words. Subscribe, like, share, and hit the bell button so that you get notified whenever we post our video. If you are new to the squad, you can visit our About page to learn more about the Common Sense Sisters and the Common Sense Squad. You can also visit our community page. This is where we post our regularly scheduled video on where we communicate and say what's going to be happening over the weekend or during the weekdays. You can catch up with our playlist to watch different videos of your choice. And finally, you can reach us on different social media platforms. Everything is all there in our About page as well.
Yes, so today's topic.
Which money do you people use to purchase? Which money do you people use to purchase this church? You are questioning the man and woman of God. How dare you?
Oh, this ministry.
You can't question us, please.
This ministry.
You can't question the man of God. We are the chosen ones. You cannot be questioning us, please. Like today's topic. I don't even know if I put the banner for it too.
If you not put the banner, it will be there.
My dear
today
woman
is
of
about
God.
Spiritual abuse in Africa. We are going to be debating today respectfully and how to catch fake pastors, fake pastors, fake priests, and all those things. You people are the one that requested for this. You people requested for this topic, and we are here to host.
We are here to serve.
Listen, to serve. We are here to serve.
To liberate.
To liberate. Liberation.
Liberation.
To liberate.
To liberate. Please, like we have said before, if you don't respect us, respect the emblem. The emblem.
It's okay. Now so that the Gios they collect respect. The amount of time you are saying about respect.
Only because some people say Halloween. You see
it's okay. You are becoming a nagging Geo.
Right. Okay. Well, you people know that normally before our Saturday videos, we usually post polls up for people to vote and share their comments. And we had 2 polls this weekend because we're talking about spiritual abuse. Why can't there be 2?
Yeah.
This was our first poll. We asked, do you know anyone or have you ever been spiritually manipulated, abused, or abused? Leave a comment. And we have yes, no, I don't know, or my religious leader does not manipulate me. He or she is righteous.
Wow.
84% of you said yes, you know somebody or you have been spiritually manipulated or abused. So we'll be hoping to hear from you today.
Yeah.
8% said no. So we hope that they'll be learning 1 or 2 things today. And 8% said they did not know.
I'm shocked at the 0%.
The 0%. Oh, don't be shocked, my dear. You know there were 2 polls. These are some comments we got, from our very own California Toby. He said this should be fun. Dominic said she's passionate about this topic, but she doesn't know whether she will join today. And our very own Presido, if she begins to type, if she starts to type, that's what it means. Now, on the second poll, we asked again, do you think Africans have been spiritually manipulated, scammed, or abused by their religious leaders? And 28 people voted. 89% said yes for sure. While 11% said their religious leader, no, they scammed them.
So anyways,
that's what we're going to be talking. Hello, Comfort. Welcome,
Comfort.
Please hit the like button on your arrival.
So, as we do it now, we start with definition.
Yes.
Definition.
This is an educating platform.
The gods of accents.
Definition. Mommy, definition. You are speaking to the congregation.
Glory. Definition.
Should we go back outside the church?
No. We have to be inside the church. Definition. Put the definition. Spiritual abuse. According to Google, which is everybody's library.
Everybody's best friend.
If discussed at all, they say most examples of spiritual abuse refer to a church elder or faith leader inflicting abuse on congregation members by creating toxic culture within the group or shaming people or controlling people. You can remove that. Now, and this level of abuse, obviously, it comes in different shapes and forms. So it can be psychological, emotional, financial, through coercion, and what other grammar is there again to use? People who attend or manipulation. Yes. So and there are many instances, and there's also the sexual part of it. Which we are seeing. A lot has been happening here in Canada, and now our focus today is on Africa. But let's let you know, with the residential school system and all the abuse that happened in the past and all that stuff. A lot of people are victims of these things. Some of them do not know. And we want to have the discussion today about it.
Yes.
We see how it has affected some people's relationship, whether it's between husband and wife, whether it's between parents and children, or just among friends or individuals, right? The usual pioneers of this talk, they are religious leaders. So with different titles such as bishops, priests, elders in the church. Hello,
Gigi, greetings.
Elders in the church, mommy Geos, reverend sisters, reverend fathers,
even your choir master,
people that hold position in the church. We acknowledge the fact that there are some good people.
Yes.
Right? And to those good people, we say they should continue doing the good works. And when it's time to fight for those who have been treated unjustly, they should also speak up.
Yes.
Today we're focusing on the toxic ones. We're focusing on the toxic ones. They use different tools. Obviously, the most popular one, they call it the Word of God. This, now my Bible. This green screen, no go let me see. You see, my Bible is old. Yeah. And so people expect that when their religious leaders say that they are called by God, that whatever they say is yes and amen. People also think that they have special anointing or special relationship.
Please bring the anointing.
Some of the anointing come in form of oil. We will tell you about this oil.
Oil.
Yes.
Go yeah.
Yes. And other people they will say that it's only through their religious leader that they can see God or communicate with their God.
Assistant Jesus.
Let me start by saying I don't know. I don't think I have been spiritually abused. But I also know that people have really tried to manipulate me, whether it be from my university days or just being as an adult. But that one story keeps coming to mind. I'm going to start with the parents. I know that there are some mothers in the church, right? I'm not talking about Mommy Gio now. Mothers, regular women that will go to church. The highest percentage of people that attend church is women anyways.
Yes.
They go to church, they will say from church, they are staying there for one meeting or the other. They will not come home, not have time for their family and all that. I tell you a true life story. I remember when I was growing up, my mom told me a story and she said, in CC, we're very young as kids, right? So obviously Sunday we'll go to church and after church we'll come home and she prepares us for the week and all that with my dad. So she doesn't attend all those their women's meeting, whether it's CWO meeting or all that, but she pays the levy, but she doesn't attend. And she's of the opinion that her priority is her family. She's done what she has to do for God, it's her family. So they went to go and report her to the bishop of the church. They went to go and report my mom to the bishop of the church, saying that, yes, she pays her levy and all that, but she doesn't attend the program. How does she do all this type of things? Is she the only one that has children? Some of us, we have children here and all that. So the bishop summoned her. The bishop summoned her, sent for her to talk to her. And Madam so this is what I'm hearing. Why this and that? My mother said, well, Bishop, your primary vocation is what? The bishop said the church. Our own primary vocation is what? Her family. Our family comes first. Would you want her? Will it be right for me to abandon my young children and my husband on Sunday, not give them food, not prepare them for the week, just because I want to come and attend CWO meeting and all those things? That doesn't align with my belief system, right? What those women did in the church is a form of spiritual abuse. I'm calling spiritual abuse because it's happening inside within the church. There are also people that are shamed because they don't have money for levy fees for different occasions. They shame them.
Now they even shame in WhatsApp groups.
Now they shame in WhatsApp group. It's worse these days. They shame them in WhatsApp group, or if they are part of choir practice or all those things, they cannot show up for the meeting on Fridays or something because of work. They will shame them. This one happens from Lagos.
Focus, are you in this audience? Are you in this audience?
Hello, sisters from Lagos. So nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and then there are also people that, I think this one happens a lot in the Pentecostal church, because I've been told this, where a young lady gets pregnant outside wedlock and they excommunicate her from the church.
Yes. But they leave the young man.
But they leave the sower of the seeds inside
Why?
the church.
Because the sin is visible.
Because the sin, in quotes, the pregnancy is visible. That's terrible. When they do that, nobody talks to the person. What about people that are victims of domestic abuse in their marriages? They will tell them, go and pray. What about all those people that we go to their pastors or religious leaders for help or wise counsel?
And you have them having fees such as this.
Yeah.
For example,
we saw this online.
We saw this on Instagram from our very own Adiola Fine, who posted this about somebody having different categories of miracles. So if you look on the screen, you will see David category and there are different forms, Nehemiah and Ezra. Whatever you can purchase. It's like making your relationship with God that of purchase.
Yes, like monetary type of things.
The more seed you sow, the more God bless you.
Yeah,
and that's a lie.
And it's a lie, and that is manipulation. That is coercion. And then shaming people because they cannot afford those things. Now back to the domestic abuse. There are so many women that they are victims of domestic abuse, or even the men, they cannot really voice out and speak. Some women are good at talking about their problems. So they'll say, I'm going to talk to my pastor about these things and all that stuff. You, pastor, you don't have any freaking experience.
No training, you're not a counselor.
And all that stuff. You will be putting your mouth in people's marital this thing. You see what is going on, then you will say you are advising the woman. You don't hear from the man's side of it. Woman, you will say you are going to church Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Daddy, hell of you that we call you your pastors and masters.
Yes, you will say that you will be going to church and all these things, but what you're supposed to be doing in your home, you are not doing them. You are not meeting your needs. The domestic violence one, they are in pain. They cry out. Church members will be hushing them or be telling them, oh, pray, until most of the time the women, they die.
Sometimes they will tell them it's because you're not giving enough tithes.
Yes, some people say because you're not giving enough tithes. Those of you that look for blessing and fruit of the womb,
you're not giving enough tithes. You are looking for a job.
You are not giving enough tithes.
You are looking for papers in a foreign country.
Yes.
Give tithes for more. Give tithes for more. Everything.
Give coercion and manipulation and all those things. And it is very bad.
Oh, see, Wyla.
Wyla, I am so sorry. I am so sorry that.
Thank you for being brave enough to write this out.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that you've experienced this. It's very bad, especially the shaming culture.
Yeah,
the shaming culture is something I could never really understand. That somebody
is from the dressing.
Yeah,
even dressing. The way you dress.
Dressing is another one. Now let me give you the one that we dislike the most. It's when you parents that have your children, you will pray for these children. You will knock. with your husband, unago kwanga.
You will have intercourse.
You will have intercourse. You carry your pikin for 9 months, born your pikin for 9 months, believe that it's God that gave you the child. Then a useless man or woman of so-called gods will come and tell you that your child is possessed. It's because of your misfortune. Then you would discard your child.
Or you say you're taking it for spiritual cleansing. Opening them for abuse.
Yeah.
For all these religious leaders.
Exactly. Then some of you, your children will come and tell you that the priest is touching you. You will say, "Oh, shut up your mouth. Man of God cannot do that."
You say that this holy person,
come
on, will you go and sit down on the lap of this person? They have come to visit you. Go and sweep father's house. Go and cook for pastor. Go and do this one. Go and do this one.
Clean. Go and clean. So you can imagine all those type of things. Then you hush the victims. There are two types of victims: the ones that will be numb for life, or the ones that will just go haywire. They don't care what the consequences. Very rare for you to find people that are in the middle. Yes, because they are fighting against a certain battle. You know, and it's very annoying. It's very toxic, especially for the ones that shame their children. You call your children a witch. Yes. Your daughter a witch. Your son a wizard. You say this boy is too stubborn. He has to be possessed. With money. You know. Then you think that it will be well with you. It cannot be well with you. Those of you that talk about that, you read the Bible and all those things, you say, "Oh, but the word of God say, come and be quoting nonsense." But you will not read Bible for your own self. Another big form of spiritual abuse that has gotten beyond, I don't want to say beyond redemption, but it's getting there, is what's happening in Nigeria and Africa today. How religious leaders are seen as demigods, as people that cannot make mistakes, even when they are facts and they are proof. But their so-called flock, instead of attacking the situation at hand and being objective and open-minded, seeing that these people are human beings, they choose to be blindsided. So, for example, one of these, a lady that we really, really love so much, Aisha Yusufu, put on her Twitter page, and she said, "Until we put an end to the romance between political rulers and religious rulers in Nigeria, bad governance will not end. The two classes both keep people oppressed and suppressed. They thrive on the mentality of enslaved citizens." And this is very, very, very true. She went on to say, Martin Luther King was a religious leader. Malcolm X was a religious leader. The ones telling you here in Nigeria that you must make demands on the rulers that have failed you are religious slave owners. Don't get it twisted. I think this was in reply to a post she saw about a certain general overseer, I think, of the Deeper Life People's Church, who came in and said that people should pray for the religious leaders in Nigeria. There's no anybody that is praying for Nigerian leaders at this point. You don't know what's wrong with you. You are wasting your time, your energy. I believe you should put that to other use. For example, Catholics, they used to say this prayer for Nigeria in distress. The more they pray, the more we pray over the course of all, that prayer should be about 20 years old. Yes, there's more distress in the land. Exactly. You have to put work. If you have leaders, you cannot ordain a president or a governor. You cannot do that. They're elected people. If you see people are doing something wrong, don't tell your flock that the leaders are handling so much they should be prayed for. No, they should be criticized. They are human beings, capable of doing wrong. Exactly. Your pastor, because he will come and collect funds from this leader, he will come and say this party. They will come and foresee the election. How many? Those of them that foresaw that Donald Trump will win American election, where are they today? For nowhere now. They are nowhere. Yeah. So what are we saying? Like, so this thing has to stop. Some people, they don't know that they are spiritually abused. They think it's normal because they are very vulnerable. So I think our vice president, when we had our first live video, he said it could be a thing of poverty, whereby this is where people go and they get their source of strength from. Yes. You know, you will have sometimes all these churches, I'm not saying anything is wrong. How do they lure people in? Food. They will tell you if you're a new member, they do it here in Canada. You will come, they will give you jollof rice. They will give you this, they will give you this. Then you will write all your problems. But you are going to pay for that jollof rice. In future, you are going to pay for it. So I don't know why things are like that. I've never really been somebody that you can really force or push, because I think that if you call yourself a Christian, I think it's a personal journey. There are people also who have been constituting nuisance online in the name of that you are flogging your parishioners, your church members to test their faith. You are doing some form of useless sexual activities, saying that you are trying to show how they should be knocking on or their
Some-
partner or all those to be fingering people and
when
doing
we
all
were
those
researching
useless
this
things.
topic, so many hideous videos.
Yes, that we cannot really put up here.
Hideous.
Yeah.
Search it for yourself on YouTube. How can you be in public or on top of an altar?
Mhm.
You are shaving the pubic hair of a woman.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with the
there's a
Bible?
level of manipulation
It's
that
crazy.
is so deep, and the fastest way to get into people's mind, into people's brain, is through what they
Through
hear
their mind. Make I come out this. My
and
pad.
what they see. This is your shoulder pad. They are removing it. Not
It don't-
what they hear and what they see. So today we want to hear from you people.
Mhm.
We want to hear how do you identify spiritual abuse?
Mhm.
Me, I can identify it from pressure,
Mhm.
bullying,
Mhm.
coercion,
Mhm.
and manipulation. Those are ways I know I can identify it.
I can also identify it from actions
Yeah.
and how people what you are preaching. Is that what you are saying? Is that what
You are
the
doing.
book that you are reading from actually says?
Mhm.
Because the Bible is a point of view. It's a personal interpretation of what people are saying. And
Mhm.
we are talking about Christianity and the Bible today because that is the one we are more knowledgeable
About.
about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And let me shock you people. You know that in Nigeria, well, in the middle, I will shock you people. In the
We
middle, I
shock
will shock
people
people.
in the middle.
Yeah.
And before we even start letting people in, I have another thing I came across last
Last week.
night.
Wow.
And it's actually real. This is a Ugandan bishop or whatever he is. And he said, deduct tithes straight from workers' salaries. Archbishop begged government.
Like how?
And I didn't want to believe this until I actually went on Google and I searched for the point principle. And I saw that it was an article written in 2018 where he was saying that he heard somewhere that in Germany, that's what they do to people that are religious. Once you get paid salary, the church or the government will just cut the tithe out that is meant for the church.
That's terrible.
How can you be putting your eye inside somebody's earnings? This is not about tithe, and that's another
I think it's their personal decision. There are people that here I have a story. I remember now in University of Ghana where I schooled, there was this Nigerian young pastor. I've forgotten the name of the ministry or whatever.
It's good,
but he was young, And then people will go to church on Sundays. Some of them will not come back with their shoe. They will say that they are going to sow seed with their shoe. Pocket money, we carried $1,000, $500 at that time, US dollars. So, and go and drop it in offering basket. They will be saying that they are sowing seed, that their pastor said, and it's always women.
I don't know.
It's always women. I don't know why.
Even in the singles group, women.
And
the women, some of them will be lusting after their married pastors.
That's a story for another. That's congregational abuse. That's a story for another day. So I don't know. I was asking them, I said, how will you go? But now, how will you feed now? You are in a foreign country. How will you carry half of your pocket money and go and be putting this offering box?
The Lord will provide.
You say the Lord will provide. This pastor was cashing out. His dress sense started changing. Everything started changing. When you talk, they will say, "Oh, the one that the Lord has anointed. The one that the Lord has anointed has to be looking good."
Anointed. If you touch me, you go catch this hand.
So I don't know. I think people have to. I think for me, I will speak up. Me, I'm of the opinion that if you think that wherever you're going to, you're connecting with, that is where your God is, that's on you. But for when it comes to the issue of the abuse part, especially the one that affects children, it's terrible. It's a big issue in a certain part of Nigeria where people just discard their kids and all that. I guess I really...
Gigi, you're very right that women attend that.
And that's very true.
Very soft and open to the, vulnerable towards the abuse and all of that stuff. And then we also have pastors that will be lying to their congregation and talking about miracle money and all of that stuff. So
miracle money.
We did a video on our channel
and
it disappeared because why?
The pastor felt threatened.
And they came and they reported our channel.
Yes.
But you will still be dragged.
But you will still be dragged. But one thing that apostle did not know is that we have the original copy. So one day it's gonna still be released. It may not be on YouTube, but it's gonna be released.
Oh my goodness.
They'll be deceiving people.
There's nothing like bank alert or spirit.
There's miracle money.
You better
open your phone that alert will come in that is miracle money.
You better work hard for your money. There's nothing like that. You are a wicked person if you think that God will automatically deposit. Tell me that God will automatically deposit money into your account.
It doesn't work out that way.
You're a wicked person.
So me, I don't think anybody. For me, I don't think that. Like for me, I believe that there's some people have choices. Other people don't have choices.
They have limited choices.
Limited choices. Yes.
Limited,
There are some people that will do the right thing. The church will excommunicate them. Nobody want to do business with them.
For example, if pastors are not bringing in cash flow in from the, what do they call them? From the congregation, like if you watch our video over the summer of how
I think we did one of them.
We did one of the videos of how a pastor was sacked for not bringing sufficient funds, and you can watch to see how we analyze that situation. But so there are different forms of spiritual abuse. They are the ones that the members put upon the pastor. They are the ones that
so God is not CRA, Canada Revenue Agency.
That's the CRA that you're talking about.
That's CRA,
Yes. Okay. Before we put the link to start letting people in, we also want to make another announcement.
Yes.
And it's regarding funds on this channel.
Yes.
If you notice, we have removed the dollar sign.
Yes.
And that is because
the Ministry of the Algorithm of the YouTube inside, they collect 30% of whatever
they collect
people give us.
More than God and more than Canadian government.
Yes.
God collect 10% if you give him.
Which God, please?
The God of Moses collect 10% if you give him. Canada collect 13% by force. YouTube collect 30%.
So we say Nehi Kaba.
Meaning that for every $100 we get 70. For every 50 we get 30. You know that?
Yeah.
So if you want to help the ministry,
why do you call it ministry?
It's not a ministry.
No.
God forbid. I don't know what you want to do, Shaq. You want to do something that concerns money.
Yeah, people who they say sometimes they want to donate or something, and they sent us this message. We not have this thing before.
This
PayPal and Cash App
is the way.
This is the way. Because we don't want YouTube to be collecting 30% from anybody.
We will rather not receive any money than have people give money genuinely to us and have 30%
taken out.
Yeah, that's unfair to the people and to us. So, hi Faith, welcome.
So, are you going to throw in the
How
link
do
now?
you guys look?
We are looking according to the.
We're looking good. Also, our ministry was sponsored today. Sorry, is sponsored by Yo-Yo Militias.
Oh yes,
Yo-Yo Militias.
Yes,
it's a food. Nigerian food content. You know, we are learning. We're on the job. We're learning. Mm-hmm. It's a food Nigerian food service, catering service here in the Greater Toronto area of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are hungry and you need food to eat, you can visit their website, yoyomilitias.com.
Yeah, in the GTA.
In the GTA, it shows you how it works. They have a wide variety of foods. The website is amazing. So if you are visiting them, let them know that you are from the commonsensesisters, okay. And you are a squad member.
This should help.
This should help you. Sorry, this is for only people in Canada.
For only people in Canada, sorry.
In Toronto, before they go, they ask whether they go.
We know they deliver go US.
We don't deliver to the US. We only chin sometimes, but who is
sometimes.
We? Where's we? We'll
put the link there.
So we're going to be putting the link all about spiritual abuse today.
Yeah, remember, to come and talk.
Be free to come and share your story. Bring your church members, please. Put this in your church.
If
WhatsApp
you know
group.
someone that happened to, or like
be free to share.
You've had an experience, come and share because it's going to really help.
If you're coming into the live stream and you don't want your face to show, you can put the stop cam there to hide your face.
Yeah, that's
for the same reasons. So we have put the link on for you. Mommy Gio, what happened? Okay. So we put the link in there for anybody who wishes to come in and join us. What about delivery to Europe? We say we're only in Toronto, Canada. You're asking for Europe. No. When they make technology that food can be sent via WhatsApp to Europe, then we're gonna do that one. But that's it for now. This is just for people in the Greater Toronto area, and they have their delivery cities out there in their website as well. So yeah, today it's all about spiritual abuse. Let me change this background. Let's go outside the church as we are welcoming in people into the studio. You can click on the link to let us know any stories that you have. If you have experience with spiritual abuse, you know somebody that has spiritual abuse. How can we spot people that are being spiritually abused? How can we help them? What is the way forward with all these situations? You know, how can we help people that don't know that they are being manipulated?
Yeah,
that's the whole thing, because we need people to be able to be objective and to think for themselves.
Yeah.
If people are able to think for themselves, then they will be more focused.
Yeah.
You will know that your politician is supposed to is accountable to you.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be praying for your politician to be accountable to you. You know, you put them there. They're supposed to be accountable to you.
Another thing
if
is
your religious leader is not being accountable, you know how to hold them accountable.
Yeah. Another thing is that if you see that universities that your religious leaders are building, every day people that are attending that church cannot
afford school fees. Their children do not go there.
Or they don't understand basic business what do they call it, ethics and all, or how to really grow their business.
They don't know how to treat the students right.
They don't know
how to university, exactly. And they are still flogging you as a student because you did not attend church on Sunday, and you are an adult. You are being spiritually abused.
Meanwhile, those
overseers, they call themselves
their children and their grandchildren don't attend that school.
You are in a university. They say you cannot wear jeans as anybody. You can't. Jeans is forbidden. You are not allowed to use phone. Now you are a full-blown adult. There's something wrong with your school.
I've also
you are in university. There's no voting poll.
Yeah.
To vote during elections.
Yeah.
You are being abused.
What about those players to carry a POS?
Oh, harvest and bazaar. Cultural shock when I came to Canada. Church where they go, they used to do welcome Anthony John was
welcome.
Anthony John is also on YouTube. Oh, this is one of the best lawyers in the Americas, in the United States of America, for your family law issues, immigration issues, anything law. Contact Anthony John.
That's the name of his channel.
Yes, his YouTube channel. You will find him everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and on his website.
He's the only lawyer. The only
that we are recommending. Anyways. What were we saying about the abuse?
POS.
When I came to Canada, I realized they don't used to do anything like harvest.
They should be calling it POT now. Point of tithe. They're carrying the machine. Yeah.
I realized they don't used to do harvest and bazaar here like this in Nigeria. Nigeria always harvest and bazaar. That can all go September. Children harvest, adults harvest and bazaar. They will be bringing POS for people who are pledging. You people that will be pledging in church that you will not pay because of you. Announcements will be longer on Sunday. You will pledge 5 million. You not go pay.
What about that one that the church they be collecting money, but the church
church one with their tents for Nigeria. They are still building it too.
Since primary
from my nursery to my primary to my secondary, university, post-university. The church is still not completed. What have they been doing with the money? That's all. Just remember, steal money.
Yeah,
spiritual abuse.
Yeah, they steal money. There are also people that they shame a lot in like other prayer group or in like different groups within the church. They will shame them or they will be gossiping about them.
Yeah.
Then those are like spiritual abuse among members in the church. You know, no love, no kindness. People should call him. Today we don't want to talk about.
Say my sideburns are not this. Toby, if you don't respect the emblem. This is. Nobody think I'm a Geo. I'm general overseer.
Toby, who tells you now glue?
I'm general overseer. You know,
touch not the anointed
of wisdom. Because I never they grow white baby now. They say.
Then let me tell you people another story whilst we are putting the link. So myself and Ella, we've been writing or thinking of doing a skit since last year. So those of you that are living in the abroad or even in Nigeria, I don't know, they probably have it. You will know Goya products, right? So they are everywhere. They vanish. They vanish.
There's the Maggi, there's anything Goya is there.
So they have Goya products. You find them a lot in I think Walmart, you know, and all those type of things. So one day now, I think I was talking to I was telling Ella, I said, let's go and look for this Goya oil. Maybe they will have our own olive oil got finished in the house. I said maybe they will have Goya oil
for this skit that we want to do. Which we have not been able to do, but we'll go last year.
We went to Walmart, so we did not find it. So we were searching different Walmart. We did not find it. I said, okay, let's go to the African store now. Lo and behold,
this Goya oil that you're seeing
there. Yeah. So lo and behold, now we found it in the African store. So when I went to the African store, and you cannot tell them that you want to buy Goya oil, they will not understand it. If you tell them you want to buy commodity anointed oil,
they put a made it see and
come on, beg.
Now this Goya oil because they see for screen now.
Hey, but come on now.
Okay, make I remove. You will show them so that people will know.
Now they know. They should not Google. I'm not Goya ambassador. So this Goya oil, and I also went to one for the African store. When I entered the African store,
we went to other big chain stores.
She be your ear they leak.
Not with that. Sorry. Sorry.
Come on, this thing already. So, Amaka, we'll see you behind the studio. How do you now? So we're going around all the big chain stores. All of them were looking for Goya.
Even Caribbean store.
Even Caribbean store. Yes.
We not see
we
anything.
say we must look for anointed oil. Now, so we carry. We go say, okay, let's go to African store. Now we go to African store. Behold,
behold,
the oil seated forth at the highest heavens.
Above the person where they sell.
So.
The oil is secure. It dey counter. It's not in any regular glass.
They will not say, please,
Goya oil.
Can we have Goya oil? They did not understand.
Goya.
We come point. They say, anointed oil.
Say,
Now, this oil is very small, 3 ounce, which means that you can fly with this oil as hand luggage bag.
Yes.
This oil is more expensive than regular olive oil or vegetable oil that we buy. So when I bought the oil, I said, I want to know where they produce this oil from, because why would Goya not put this oil on the shelves of other
stores? Why only in African store?
Guess what? They produce the oil for it. It's a product of Spain. But at the back, if you have anointed oil now in your house, look at the back. At the back, they will say, agent in West Africa, Ekuno Limited, Lagos, Nigeria. It has NAFDAC number.
Lagos.
Anointed oil.
Your anointed oil, they expire. Do you know?
Well, let's add people to this.
They expire. Today we are starting with our president, Amaka.
Hey, commonsensesisters. Good afternoon.
President, how are you?
Hi there. How are they?
We are doing fine.
Oh, I said let me just rush and say I put in my 2 cents because my kids have birthday party. I'm gonna be rushing to. But this topic, man, I don't even know where to start. Like I think the thing that really, really bugs me in the sense that I don't even see an end to it. I saw that John said it was more of an impoverished Africans, but I know that I don't even think so. I think both the greatest among us are kind of caught in the middle of this. And maybe my thoughts are like, as far as how do we get up? How did we get here? And I'm thinking maybe some of our parents or our parents' parents became Christians without actually knowing what it is, you know? Or all they know that is that they are they work on these white people. Maybe just join. You know? I feel like there's I don't think there's any reasoning of, okay, what is this God that I'm serving? What does the Bible even say? You know? I think it's all over. I don't know if any African that will say they don't have any relative that is caught up on this. For me, it's like my whole, like literally, I can call family member for family member, but you know, since I don't know where this video is gonna go eventually. Let me just be.
We get you.
Or even family friends, but I have a personal stuff that and aunts, you know, literally, like you said earlier, you're saying earlier that she gets back from work, you know, leave the kids alone every day from Monday through Sunday is church. The husband is like, I want my wife at home. No, you cannot get between me and my God, though, you know. Eventually, that led to the breakdown of the marriage. And do you think that there is any self-blame? I'm like, okay, let me look inward and see how could I have done this better. No. The guy is demonic. The guy is this. The guy is that. You know. Or I had a very literally it was like a family friend-ish where a pastor asked for donation. A little girl in college literally gave the guy thousands of dollars. Like I'm telling you, like that. It's somebody in college should not have. This guy took the money until the father that the guy stole the money from the father and went to go and donate to church. Until the papa began to look for the money now, you know. Eventually she confessed. They arrested the guy and really beat. You know, they are saying, oh, you guys are beating up pastor. But meanwhile, you as a pastor, if a little girl should just come and actually hand you that amount of money, you're questioning her. Exactly. Where did you get that money from? You know, I don't have any business. You're still in school. You see what I'm saying? You know, and it's all this mentality of, oh, if you don't do it, you're going to hell. If you don't invite people to this service, you're going to hell. You know, these are these big punishments. You know, sometimes it's like a really, really crossroad between idol worship and Christianity. Like when it comes to Africa, you know, because I'm like, are we reading the same Bible? You know. So I feel like it's just as a matter of fact, just just say like what I always like. I try to tell my kids is like read the Bible for yourself. Now, as small as they are, there's no weekend that they don't read the Bible. As I say, what do you think? What do you think about it? How can you interpret this? Because eventually, I don't know. Because the more I think that we're going out of it, the more we're going deeper. So. Ask me how can this be resolved? How because another thing that I've also realized, you cannot, someone that is convinced, you cannot try. No matter if it's someone that is like, I'm going to follow this one till I die.
Yeah.
Really anything that you can say, and it will be at the height of it, they're gonna cut you off. Like it's gonna be that point. It's like enmity, like right there. So it's like I'm actually at loss for words, and I'm actually very interested in seeing what other people have to say or have to bring to the table as far as. How can we go about resolving this? How can we, using their common sense, knowing that, like you guys said, our pastors are human beings, all those, even though they're leading the worship or trying to help the flock of Christ, lead them to Christ, we're all humans. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at some point there has to be common sense, like I literally like use your brain. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. So.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Amaka has reminded me of a story of even in Abuja. I think somebody also stole money from their workplace to go and do. How can you steal money and you could get the money they call a donation? I don't know that yes, he caught up with the person or something along.
That's just terrible. And it's true. There are some people that they cannot really. We can't really help.
We can't really help.
But
them.
I also think that one way is to have like
these conversations
and come from a point of, okay, how would I say it now? Not from a point of attack, but not from a point of
I think from a point of concern will help people.
And like also what's the word to use now? If they are talking about the Bible, you can use that same thing to argue your points.
And if people are talking about the Bible and they say my pastor said in the book of, that person is controlled. Yes, controlled. Is being controlled.
Yeah. So
before we bring in Omoye, please, I hope you people are remembering to like
this video.
Like the video. Thank you. Omoye's Corner in the house, our very favorite own co-member of the kitchen cabinet of Obodo Ebo TV. Please unmute yourself. You are muted.
Unmute your mic.
Please subscribe to Omoye's Corner. Take a show now. Daily motivation.
If you want to see this beautiful face, Omoye's Corner, in that corner, goodness and sweetness of joy. Right on, sis from California.
Right on.
Na best I enter this show. Na best I take call. Onto Versi matter because he get one pastor when I collect my BlackBerry phone. That BlackBerry now new one. He say me I sow seed. I can't say me I can't say I not get money. He say me I sow my BlackBerry phone. I'm still very upset. Can he return that BlackBerry phone? Because the prayer when he pray for me, I never see the answer.
Pastor when collect my BlackBerry phone that year of BlackBerry.
This video must be shown.
Dead or alive, right up and return it to the BlackBerry phone. Oh.
Which na bold? Now one of the bold series.
Now the bold now. He just come at that time. He just come at that time. I don't know say the guy they hide the thing. Still they pay me, I'm not gonna lie. Still they pay me till today, as if not today just happen. Nah. I need my boat back. Oh, I'm not care whether you don't go out of fashion.
You collect now. Your pin too. Because
pin exactly. Everything.
You see, they vex me. They pay me now, and I get. See, I was so back the speed of the boat. My boat now. The boat. They can go find it. No. The boat there, but sister with me collect your own.
Yeah, you go forever. They use boat till the payment.
Amen. That's a better prayer. You not go see iPhone use. You not go see Samsung. Now only that BlackBerry, that BlackBerry. Even though people know they use it again, you go just they tied to that BlackBerry for no reason. Because they verse that thing verse me. Or top say one pray for me. He pray for me. Use the prayer. Collect my phone. And he paid me. He paid me. I'm not gonna lie. If he dey hear, I dey talk him on purpose. If he dey hear in case. This video reach him by mistake. I want it back.
If you're a member of that pastor's church now, around that time too, they collect your vote. It could be the same pastor, please.
Or your Nokia,
to him.
or your Samsung,
Nokia,
or your Motorola, or your Ericsson. Go back for it. Go back.
This is the year of the retrieving. Anything you are giving, collect it back.
As you not see your miracle, go back and collect your things.
I'm telling you, anything when you sow, collect them.
With interest. So
With interest. Yes.
iPhone 13 Pro Max now. Because now the equivalent of
Nine. God. Sorry.
So that aside, I don't talk my grievance come out. It don't come out from my mind temporarily.
Swear.
But also this matter we go feel resolve. The problem be say we will feel resolve. People go eventually. The more we talk about them, people go come realize say, what am I doing? This doesn't make sense. Eventually, people come to, thank you. Please, you should return it to the iPhone 13 series. Because no, yes, because
you don't go help fight this case.
Exactly. Make we table this matter. I need them. Anyway, so because of I think African people, our forefathers had their own way of worship, which entails you going to the priest to go and seek the priest, right? To tell you about, maybe your child that is born. What kind of star did the child bring? What kind of child with that child? They had those kind of things, right? That they were used to doing. So I think that they transferred all those aspects of worship and service to their idols into Christianity, in the sense that now it seems like the pastors have replaced the form of the priests, so they go to the priest for everything. Like if they go to, sometimes I watch Yoruba movies. So some of them, they want to go to, for instance, they want to go seek whatever it is. Maybe they have some concern. They will go and meet the person, right? Meet this Baba in a place, and the Baba will say, okay, this is what's happening. This is what's happening, right? It is the Baba that speaks for the gods. The Baba will throw cowrie or whatever it is, throw something down and say, wait, the gods have spoken. This is what they have said. So they have kind of transferred that mode of, reaching God to the church. So instead of coming to God by themselves, they believe that they have to go through a pastor. They believe that a man is an intermediary. So it's in the psyche. It's almost like something that was transferred from generation to generation. So it's gonna require a lot of, coming to a knowledge of self, right? And understanding that what you're seeking on the outside is really on the inside of you. It's not through anyone. It's within you, right? And then if you really can tap into that, if you can understand that God is already inside of you, you already have the power of creation inside of you already. You're not going to need anyone before you get to God. So because of that, they take advantage, because they know some people, they come to them, for prayers. They'll say, oh, you have to do 3 days prayers. They will collect money for that one. You have to pray for family. They'll collect money for that one. So they have capitalized on it. They have now, it now becomes abuse. Exactly. Right? They will say whatever prayer you have, they'll say, okay, what do you have for the gods? Person will say 500 naira or 200. Say, that's not enough. We have to do this. We have to buy palm wine tapped fresh from the tree. We have to buy 24 doves. We have to buy. So it's the same psyche they're using for people, and they're using it. So there are a lot of babalawos that have become pastors. That's just the truth, Yeah, there are a lot of babalawos that have become pastors because they see that it is, lucrative. They're making money. They're making bank with it. All they need to do is use the same psyche and say, hey, yes, so I can talk to the gods. This is what I feel. I had a dream about you yesterday, Hey, big word. Oh, syncretism. See why I love Gigi. You see why I love Gigi? Gigi, they scatter my brain. Hey! Gigi, you too sharp. I bet. Which school you go? Which school? May I return my own school fees? May I can't go your school? Because this syncretism. I have to write it down. No, where my barrel? I bet more wait.
Make a put her. I go screenshot it.
We go screenshot now. You see, as common say the portion more here.
Syncretism.
Sorry, I'm not syncretism. Hell, Osalobo see word. I go use them in a sentence with somebody today. They go say, wow, this guy is brilliant. In my mind, I go say, thanks to Gigi Gipsy. Another one. Gigi Gipsy, I owe you. I owe you champagne when I see you.
We have to educate people on this channel.
Because educate.
What Google says
Syncretism
means.
Syncretism.
Syncretism. Make I put them for full screen. Everybody's with
Syncretism.
So it means the amalgamation or attempted amalgamation of different religious culture. Oh, now the joining together of
different things. Yeah.
Okay.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Gigi Gibson, that your brain you go continue to they grow. Hey, so that is why you see that a lot of people, a lot of our people are caught up in this web. It's a mindset, right? They just switch They just switch the gods, but it's the same methods. The same methods they are using. So now a lot of people, even they have heard like a few people that were babalawos before, they have, given up on the babalawos. They do it behind in the dark. So when they will open church in the morning, right? And then in the church, they will pray. They'll say, oh, yeah, the God of this. And then in the night, they are chanting to the babalawo.
It's like it's a switch of company. Maybe it's a company thing. Because if you work in church for this
now conglomerate, you go become now. Conglomerate.
This is spiritual purpose.
Syncretism, right? Syncretism. So they don't conglomerate, they don't make a global. So the man is making his cash, man. And then at night time, he goes and he talks to the babalawo and doing the things. You understand? You see a lot of people, they have churches in front of their houses, but they have altars at the back of their houses. There is no way, right? The same God, though, that we know, that I personally know, if I may say that, I know him personally for myself. The same God that I personally know, he's just looking at everybody and just doing like this. That's what he's doing. Because he knows that at the end of the day, we're all going to come to the end of ourselves with all this drama that we're doing. You will get to a point in your life where you realize, there's nowhere else to go. But to him, so that's why I think that it's a mindset. It's going to take like what you guys are doing, talking about it, bringing it to life, having conversations about it, and then talking to people who are actually allowing the brainwash, right? And engaging them with facts and common sense and telling them, really? You know what I mean? Really? Because the truth is that right and wrong is inside of you.
Yes.
We can all be bad. We can be as bad as the baddest people on earth. But what makes you different from that person is your choice. You choose that, no, I don't like being bad. I just don't want to do it. The other person is like, oh, I like to be bad. It's fun. That's just the difference. So the continent itself, there's a lot of work, a lot of shifting of mindset and cleansing that needs to take place. Otherwise, it's going to continue. It's going to continue. And the more we talk about it, the more we educate people about it, you know, and it's true. People don't want to listen. There's some people that belong to certain churches. If you talk about their pastors or you talk about what they do, they go to war with you. I was talking to a family member recently, and I was saying, you know, you've been going to this church for over how many years? Your children go up in this church. Why can't they give your children scholarship? They have a school, they have a college. Why can't your kid go there? Now they criticize the Catholic Church, but guess what? The Catholic Church was serving people that could hardly pay school fees or didn't even have money to pay school fees, right? So I said, it doesn't make sense, you know, make it make sense to me. How can you be going to church for so many years, invested so much, you pay tithe, you give, you have done surprise seed, however way they call it, different levels of seeding. You have sold from even nothing, and you know, you can't, now that your child is about to get to school, you can't even get him in on the list. There's something wrong with that. Think about it. There's something fundamentally wrong with that, and you're not even questioning it, and you're still going to the same church. That's messed up big time, you know. So I think that's what it is. We just have to keep talking about it, and hopefully, you know, hope that they come to themselves. They understand that they don't need anyone to get to the I am that I am. They don't need anyone. The I am that I am is inside of you. It's not in a church. It's not with the pastor. It is the people who have the God himself, God inside of them, that make the church what it is. The church is just a building without the people. And he doesn't live in buildings anyway. He knew how messed up the world was going to be. So guess what? He hid it in a place where nobody can touch and corrupt. You choose which direction you want to go.
Yeah.
So I hope with these few points of mine, I have been able to convince and not confuse.
Not for this technology, what would they use? Not go fee.
Thank you, Moye. We appreciate your points.
Thank you so much, Moye. We'll put you behind and then we'll bring MB.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I think I stopped that. Sorry. MB, you're coming in next. Hello.
MB,
Can you
unmute
yourself?
Unmute your mic. We can't hear you. Can you hear us?
Hey. Can you hear us?
Unmute yourself.
Let me write it in the back.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll have to bring in somebody else. Can you speak? Unmute yourself. We're trying to get her to talk.
Click on the microphone thing and then unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi.
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Loud and clear.
How are you doing?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I can't hear you anymore.
Oh, why?
You can just go on out. You can go ahead. I'm typing in the background for you. We can hear you.
Just speak.
You can just speak. We can hear you. Hey. She can't hear us.
We can't hear you. So,
do you
want to reconnect? Let her reconnect back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on. So, MD, you can reconnect back. Maybe it's network from your side. Let's bring in, I think, Toby.
Toby was next. After Toby, Sam.
Once you connect back, we'll
put you back in.
Okay.
Toby, we can hear you.
Toby, we can hear you.
Hey, hello guys. How are you guys doing today? Commonsensesisters. I was like, it's time for me to go get some common sense, man. Yeah, first of all, let me say, I'll be remiss if I don't say that your costume, man, Jesus, it's out of this world. Ella, I'm still curious about your sideburns. You know, are they itchy or is everything working well?
Did I not just did you not tell you that this is but let me answer him.
Gio, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude.
These
I'm
are
just serious.
anointed light bulbs. These are anointed. These are anointed can never be itchy.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Amen. Like I said before, if you're not respecting us, it's respect the emblem of Christ.
Okay. Okay. I forgive my innocence and I apologize. All right. Wow, guys, amazing topic. I'm just gonna shoot straight. I'm gonna go straight into it. This is deep. This is deep stuff, and we can't even it's inexhaustible, to be honest.
Yeah.
But so before I share my thoughts, right, I'm going to preface my thoughts with a story that I was part of a meeting some years ago here in Yankee, and we were talking about something like this, abuse in the church and things like that. And a guy at the meeting actually shared a personal experience that happened to him when he was in Nigeria. So he said that he was serving under this ministry, and he was so close to the man of God. He was one of the leaders. It was, was very close. And he got so close that, they took a liking to him. The man of God and his wife took a liking to this guy. Everybody saw it. Oh, it's like the beloved of the man of God, the anointed son, all this kind of language they use. And eventually the relationship devolved to the point where, guys, he started washing the man's underwear.
What?
Yes. He started washing the man's underwear. Now you might think I'm as shocked as you are, even as I narrate the story, and you might think that is shocking enough. Wait till until you hear the next one. So it got to a point that then he rationalized it. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm serving. I'm under my man of God. This is good. I'm paying my dues. And then he got to the point where he started washing Mommy Gio's underwear as well. Yes. So I mean, let me just use the word. Underwear is more of a generic term. Panties. Panties. Yeah. Panties. Yeah. So it's terrible enough that you manipulate somebody to wash daddy's underwear, but you gotta make him wash mommy's panties too. That's ridiculous. That is insane. But so with that story, I'm gonna share my thoughts real quick. That right there, and it ramifies through our culture. We see this play out every day. It could be financial, it could be just using people, and then we can justify it in the name of the Lord. Oh yeah, you're supposed to serve. You're his son. You're his son under me. You serve me because one day somebody else will serve you. Here's the thing. I believe there's a psychological component to these things. So I believe that the average person, and I don't mean to be disrespectful by saying this, I have never been personally abused. I don't think so. If I'm gonna if I'm gonna
vote from you, blackberry vote.
no, I didn't go that far. And if I'm gonna acknowledge any kind of abuse, maybe psychological brainwashing, just like the average Nigerian, out there, or African out there. So I believe there's a psychological component to this. So I believe the average person is suffering from Stockholm syndrome. And that's my personal belief. The syndrome where you fall in love with your abuser or your captor when you are held captive. That's what. So you go to these ministries, you go to these churches, you go 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Some people even go every day. You listen to the same guy. Is practically sharing his worldview with you in every area, even in areas that he's not an expert. He's not trained in that area, but he tells you. So you go back into the real world. You don't listen to anybody else. You don't listen to your family members. As young people, you don't listen to your parents because you think, oh, my Geo, my pastor knows better. You can nobody, even the words of wisdom that come from our elders and the people that have lived before us. You don't listen to them because the only place you want to go is this one place. So there is a Stockholm syndrome phenomenon going on, and so eventually you're going to find out that you get locked in this echo chamber of rituals and indoctrination for the most part. That's what, and you're not going to know because it's very slow. It's like the classic death by. It's like it's like the classic death by 1,000 cuts, because it's so slow, it's so progressive to the point that you don't even find it objectionable anymore.
Yeah.
It just keeps going and going, and you can be there for years. And then when somebody else even comes at you with a new information, a new worldview, what you do is basically engage in, you attack, you're defensive, and you engage in confirmation bias, which is basically taking the new information you're getting and trying to interpret it within the context of your belief system. So all of these things are psychological. At the end of the day, you end up a sheep, which is really what you are. You've lost your mind. Yeah, you don't have your own mind. You don't have your own opinion. You can't express that, because if you do, they tell you you're going against the will of God.
Yeah.
And that right there, guys, is the thing that they use to hold people down.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time they play that card of God, it weakens you.
Yeah.
You are emotionally, physically weak, and you cannot do or say anything anymore. And sometimes it's because maybe people genuinely want to serve God.
Yeah.
And they love God, and so they have in their minds rationalized that this man is the representation of God to me. He's the one. They've idolized him pretty much.
Yeah, that's
that's idolatry. So even though he stands up there saying, "I'm not God," God didn't send me, I'm not. But really, that's what's going on. He's a demigod. He's been deified. That's exactly what is going on. So another story has come into my mind real quick before I end it, and I'll back up so others can chime in. I remember one time I was still in Nigeria then. We're getting ready for this program. By the way, I'm talking from personal experience. I was involved in all of those programs. I was involved in executing them. I participated in planning some of those programs. One time, this big ministry, I'm not going to mention names, and we were getting ready for an event. And then it was a mass choir thingy that was going on. And one lady, so we had this all-night rehearsal session. It was an all-night rehearsal session. So this one lady had done something that the leader, a young lady, it was still maybe teenager, early 20s. The leader was upset with her. And guys, around 2 a.m., this thing happened. This lady was so upset, she sent that young girl home.
At 2 a.m.?
In the middle of the night.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
In the middle, she told, pack your things and get out. And this guy, now imagine all of the many things. Now, I didn't follow up with that story. I didn't follow up with the person to know what happened afterwards. Imagine the several possibilities, all of the things that could have gone wrong. Let's just pretend for a moment that lady made it home safe. You know what I'm saying? But the point I'm trying to draw from that story is that we lack empathy.
Yes.
Even when it comes to the application of so-called God's word and treating people, we lack empathy. It seems like there is something in our psyche that loves abuse.
Yes.
Whether we ourselves have been abused, and so we project that onto others. Now we can shroud it in God's name and cover it up in church, but it's the same thing. It's the same BS. So, anyways, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let me just back off for a moment and but yeah, great topic, guys, great topic.
Background for the general debates.
Okay.
So let's add AB. Thank you so much.
AB, we're adding you. We hope this will work now. Are you ready?
AB, are you ready? So let's hope that AB stuff is pulling up. Man, that story is very painful. I cannot even imagine.
Hi,
AB. Can you hear us?
You can unmute your mic again.
Unmute your mic. I don't know. Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you. Perfect.
Yes, we can hear you. Good evening.
Hello.
May thunder fire. Good evening. I'm fine. I'm calling from Lagos.
Hi. Okay, let's allow her to quickly so that the Wi-Fi will not.
Yes, want to allow you to.
It's calling from Lagos.
I said, may thunder fire. It was my phone that was messing up. I had to go and connect with my laptop so I can hear you loud and clear now.
Perfect. Thank you so much for going through everything to come in here today.
Can hear you. We're in Lagos with you now.
We're in the cathedral now.
We're in Lagos with you now. Okay, so let's hear your thoughts on this topic.
Internet, please.
So I can hear
Yes, yes. So you can
Yes,
speak. Just talk.
religious views I think the epicenter of religious manipulation is Nigeria. I don't know if it's all Africa, but Nigeria, sure, because it's like something that was practically raised in. Eh?
Yes.
Something I was practically raised in. You know, I grew up in a family that if the preacher was going to wash the windows, my mother would carry us to go and help him wash the windows in church. We were in church for every program, for everything.
Wow.
The pastor knows it all.
Hey.
The pastor knows it all. Sorry, my daughter is trying to get my head. So well, I grew up in it, came to Lagos, and then I joined. I don't know what to call the name of the church, but where we drink tea with God when we are communing with God. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I joined the worker program, and I was also running a school program, a professional course. I'm a lawyer. I was running a professional course at that time, and I explained at the workers in training that my lectures were from 10 to 1, and the workers in training were supposed to start by 1 o'clock. So they should pardon me to take me about 15, 20 minutes to drive from one part of Ikeja to
So another
Okwebi.
part.
The leader or the administrator said there was no problem. But you know that every time, naturally, I was late because I would finish lectures at 1 and get there about 1:15, 1:20. Every time I would get there, they would make me kneel down, carry my chair up.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I'm talking about 2007, 2006, 2007. Still not over it. 2007. I'm still not over it.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry you had to
No,
go through that.
it's not a story matter. It's a matter of they think they are training us. But
Yes.
for what? Hellfire.
Yes.
You're going to flog the children and so for coming late to church.
Coming late for workers' meeting, not even to church. Every time we're late to church, we kneel down in front when the workers' meeting is going on until the pastor says, okay, get up, go and sit down.
Oh my goodness.
I recall a time that they asked all workers, I was not even a worker then, I was a volunteer. They asked all workers to be in church, at the general camp for a meeting after the usual monthly service. And of course, normally I wouldn't even go. So they said that all those that did not
Does she
attend,
want to be
You
part of
want
it?
to be part of the conversation.
If she has to be part of the conversation, let her be part of it too.
no, it's my son this time. I've sent him away.
Because you know that children, they also come here and they
They
will
want to-
sit down. They want to be part of the
That's
conversation.
my-
So continue.
And so this time they said, okay, those of us that did not make it to the meeting after the service were suspended. I mean, I was kind of relieved because, no, I was relieved. I was single then. I was single then. I would rush home from work to prepare a meal because as a worker, you'd have to be in church on Tuesdays for workers' meeting. As a chorister, you'd be in church Wednesdays for choir practice. You'd be in church Thursday for meeting. You'd be in church Saturday for choir practice. So, man, I was exhausted. And that Saturday, I would have lectures before coming for choir practice. So I was actually relieved. Okay, so I'll get to church and actually sit down. I won't be on stage or whatever. But and somebody heard me when I expressed my relief. And she was like, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "What's wrong with that? I'll rest." She said, "You know that when you're on suspension, you're not under the covering." I said, "Blood of
You're not covered by the blood. Which covering?
The person
you're
did
not
know
under
that
the covering."
the person don't know that you are covered by
Suspension,
common sense.
Was
that
he
Coming up.
covering. So when they are praying for the children, you're not one of the children. When they are praying blessings, you're not one of those receiving blessings. Uh-huh.
Jesus.
Oh,
Yeah. If I start telling these stories, I will not say. Will not live here today. But what I realized also, just like somebody Omoye mentioned, syncretism, that worked for me. It works for me because we live in a society where people can commit any atrocity. People have utter disrespect for everything, for law, for everything that's supposed to be putting them in check, everything that's supposed to set a system of control. They have no regard for it. All they respect is spirit.
yes.
We had this guy staying with us that was one guy staying with us. I think I found out he was stealing. My husband would not believe me. So I said, "Oh, this guy is stealing our food," and actually he was even trying to touch my house up there. My husband said, "Nah, lie." The guy said, "Because you don't like him, blah blah blah." I said, "Okay, fine." One day I said, "You know what? Come, let's pray." We all knelt down in the parlor. I said, "Look, when you are committing all these things, there's someone that is seeing that me I don't see, and he will reveal." And so we started to pray. I said, "God, we're praying blessings." Everybody was saying amen. We said we're praying a prayer of agreement. Everybody was saying amen and amen and amen. So now the point we're praying for blessings, this amen, blessings that. I said, "God, the person that did this, that, let your judgment come upon them." Oh, one amen. The other person, no more amen. Close this one. Oh, let this happen. Let that happen. Every person went mute, was trying to pull his hand out of the. We're all holding hands there.
Together.
Finished praying. This guy rushed to his room and started packing his clothes. Was kneeling down, holding his rosary and praying. I said, so people fear something.
The wrath of God.
I'm telling you, within how many months, the guy himself, he packed and left the house. He later confessed to my husband and said, please, my husband should not tell me should not tell me that he admitted it until he leaves the house. So I've realized that people fear people fear spirits. That manifestation don't enter us. Don't enter us. And another story, and let me give you one more. I have twins. When they were babies, they are boys, they are 9 now. When they were about 1, they were in and out of the hospital. There was time they all had food poisoning. Another time it was about maybe 3-4 weeks later, it was pneumonia. And so, then I was really in there. That was like 2013 or so. So every small thing, when you're in the hospital, you will now call maybe one minister, please pray for us. So we're in the hospital. One of them now came to visit us. He called me aside. He said, have you been paying your tithes? I said, no, I've been paying my tithes. So it was thinking now, if you don't pay your tithes, judgment of God is coming upon you. The devourer is taking away the little money you have, is visiting iniquity on your children, blah, 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 blah. I said, I've been paying my tithes. He said, when things keep happening like this, it went on and on. Let me cut a long story short. This thing happened about March, April. When we got to around October, this guy was involved. What happened first? Okay, no. December, he lost a child.
Oh.
He had 3 boys. He lost the youngest boy. And then about 6-7 months later, there was a fire incident in their home. This guy was almost 100% burnt, and he spent some months in the hospital. I felt bad for him. Of course, you would feel bad. Somebody that lost son, and then fire incident, and then so happened that while we kept visiting, we found out his wife was even pregnant. So you can imagine a woman with young pregnancy looking after her husband who was in the hospital, almost covered, from head to toe in front, just his face. Now he can't go about without long sleeves or without long trousers. His whole body, and he's light skinned, so you just see everything. I almost asked him, sir, did you stop paying your tithes?
My sister.
It's just a simple question.
That's so sad.
We've come to see that in our society, they've kept us in a corner. They've kept us in a box. I still go to church. Believe me, I go there now as a mocker. I don't go learn anything.
Because you get common sense.
Message, but I'm sitting at the choir stand. My husband is where he is. But then you hear one statement. My husband and I exchanging glances. Something to talk about when we get home.
You take what you want to take, you leave the rest. All our family gist.
And use it to gist and talk to your children just in case they find themselves and hear all those type of things. They can
I have a confession. I've done a similar thing too. And so when I really came to Canada, there's this church that is to pack students. So inside bus, you'll be going to church, the school bus. First Sunday, they used to give jollof rice. And when I really came to this country, to find jollof rice very, very hard.
Why you not cook your own now?
I don't have kitchen. I was in a secondary school, high school. No kitchen, no nothing. Body school, they're gonna give you rice, no stew.
Not now we can.
Not now that we're cooking here.
In 20 minutes, like we can give you jollof rice.
So now, on my last Sunday, I said this jollof rice no go pass me by. Amen. I must go chop this jollof. Amen. I don't care what it takes. The school bus come. Amen. I missed the school bus. I entered the city bus. 2 buses to go to that church that day. Very important jollof rice.
Blood of jollof.
I read the church now. Now the mommy Gio preached that day. I totally did not agree with anything that she said. But am I going to say because this woman, I'm not enjoying her preaching, I'm going to abandon the jollof rice?
After the journey.
I could come out with the jollof. You put the jollof and I drop offering. And in my head, the offering is for the jollof rice. So I paid for it. So I'm not going to feel the point the Christians way they go church for jollof because what? I have done that before.
But yeah, Abi, what do you think? What do you think we can do to like help people that are
reach this state that you have reached?
Because you have a lot of common sense. So sometimes you they go there because like going for show on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, you pick what you want and the rest
because you've learned to know God for yourself.
Where I am now, it's just that I don't know what to do about my kids because I've come to realize that what we are seeing in church is zero.
Yes.
Is zero. But then I don't know what to do about my kids. I'm kind of scared that, okay, stay at home, stay out of church, and then what would they be? I mean, what are they learning? Is there still anything they can learn in church? When I pass the children's church and I'm hearing, I will not die in Jesus' name. I say, is that what they are even teaching? This kind of prayer be that. Which kind of prayer be that? They're not even saying, God, thank you for this. God, teach us, give us wisdom, give us grace. It's now, I will be rich in Jesus' name. I will prosper in Jesus' name. I will not die in Jesus' name. I will be the head and not the tail. Who be tail? Who be head?
We tired. There's something.
So I'm kind of in a fix, really. That's the truth of the matter. I'm kind of in a fix.
There's something
that I'm just going through the motions, but I've seen it all. I've seen the front. I've seen the back. I used to follow Pastor Dr. Sunday Adelaja.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
Okay, you can just check him up on YouTube. So he had a lot of videos. That's where I learned about syncretism and all those things. So he would do videos about different pastors and show and break down everything they are doing.
That's good.
So that came at a time when I was actually searching. So it like opened my eyes. It's kind of like the daddy freeze of what's that country?
Yeah.
No, it's not in Nigeria. It's not in Nigeria.
I don't know.
Anyway, that's
fine. There's something. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you there. There's something that our parents used to do for us. Because you talked about this thing about your concern now is for your kids. And the fact that you're stuck in between if I have to take them to church and then what they're giving them in church, the contents, and then this. Because I remember when I was growing up as a kid, like we used to look forward to going for, when we go to Catholic church, so we look forward to going for Wednesday charismatic because it was all about the kids and children, like, you know, that fun thing and all that. We were learning about the word, but there was also fun things like we make wings and just things that children are supposed to do back in the days. So but there's something that my parents used to do. They did not rely on the going to church routine as
where we'll get this spiritual
knowledge from. So my dad used to do the Bible study in the house. So
I grew up with that also.
My dad wanted to be doing it every day, but you know they work for us, the kids.
We got planner for New Year.
No, even for
it used to work for every day.
It used to work for every day. So we used to do New Year's resolution as a family, right? And then we'll write to be doing this thing and we'll pray together as a family. We'll gist and all this every day. So we'll try for the first week of the new year now. So
resolution don't break.
You know. So and then no technology that time. We're not able to do WhatsApp. So now what he decided to start doing is we'll do Bible study together as children and father and mother and children.
We'll tell you what we understand.
Then whoever and everybody has to pick whatever the reading is. You have your turn. So maybe this week mommy is the leader of the Bible study. The next week myself, or another week my sister, or like my brother. Everybody has their input. You know, and then he will tell the story. So which means that the parents have to be knowledgeable about the word that is in the Bible. As for Christians though, to teach their children, and it's like form of story. So we'll ask a lot of questions, then he will answer us.
And that for me, it was like storytelling.
It was like storytelling.
I never saw it as
spiritual.
People they fight against.
It was storytelling, you know.
Storytelling.
Another thing he used to do is that if we go to church together and then we're coming back, we're all seated inside the car driving home, right? Daddy will say, "Oh, so what did you hear today?" You know, my brother is always saying, "Honor your father, your mother." See, that boy went to university.
That had nothing to do with honor your father and mother.
But my dad will use the opportunity to gist us summary of what he thinks
Bible was
about.
So and also ask
for our understanding if we have any questions.
So from a child's perspective, helped us.
That helped us. So we did not really learn from, apart from the routine of the singing and all those things, but the word of God, understanding like our foundation knowledge came from like our parents. And that brings a lot of bond. So you see us the children, and so we know that okay, next week Saturday night is Yo-Yo's turn, and we're going to be preparing. And there was no right and wrong.
Yes, and that's another thing.
There was no right and wrong. You know, so
suggestion was welcome.
When all of us went to different parts of the world to go and settle, I could pick where I wanted to go to. So if I go to church and the priest is not making sense, I'm leaving there. I'm going to somewhere else, or better still, I will not just really go. So and then he will always say you have to read the word of God, for yourself. So they were like the representation of the Christ, if you want to put it that way. They didn't really expect. Then we used to always think that the priest and everyone said they commit sin. Now one would all human being. I go to secondary school. When I enter secondary school, I can say all those.
So Reverend sisters, wicked.
There were this. When we grew up, I grew up in Jos. Right next to our gate. The next gate was this School Sisters of Notre Dame. These Oyinbo Catholic sisters were there. When I was in, I think, 100 level or so, there was one guy that was toasting me that lived down the road. There's one place, just opposite our gate, there's this uncompleted building by those blocks like that. One place we used to hang out. My parents would not let them not catch you sitting there, more so sitting with a toaster. My parents were out of town that period. So one guy that was toasting me now came. We sat there for a while. Was getting dark. He now left. So I now saw one of the reverend sisters just laughing with this guy. Mr. So you're so funny. I said, come, let me see something today. There's something I've been suspecting. And it was kind of dark. The security lights were on them, so they couldn't see me clearly, but I could see them kind of clearly. Wearing a white shirt, and of course she was dressed in white. At the point, the laughter stopped. Was a bit far, but I could see two
things
fused together.
The anointing was going on.
I think that was like my first experience. I was actually seeing that these people, they're active. They're active.
We get the picture. Yeah, we get the picture. Yeah.
Back to what you were saying. I grew up in a family that my mom has gone to theological college. I grew up in a family that we had devotion every single day, 7:30.
Hey, that's a lot.
Every day. Right now, if I have devotion, most likely it's when my mom is visiting me here in Lagos that I have devotion. I've not been keeping to it. Why? Because some have lost, and like that belief in what we saw in the Bible is actually fading for me. I've done a lot in the last maybe 1 to 2 years. I've been doing a lot of reading, a lot of just maybe I've been too curious.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
Why do we go to Mecca and Jerusalem to go and be honoring other people? We have, I loved your show that you did, your last show about Halloween and why didn't I catch the live? I missed it, but I watched it. And why are we not celebrating our ancestors?
Yes,
our ancestors are evil, or we're taught that our ancestors are evil, and they were celebrating other people's ancestors, celebrating other people's religions, other people's cultures. What's wrong with our own culture?
Yeah.
I said, okay, what you're doing is bad. Drop it. Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Yeah.
I'm still struggling with that. I've come to that point where I'm struggling with that. We're learning about Israel, about Pharaoh, about deliverance, about that.
That's Jewish history for the most part.
Somebody else's culture. It's somebody else's history. We have our own history, but our own history has been taught to us as darkness.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we're
And I like
doing
the
here
fact that I like
now.
it's
You're doing
good
soul
that you're
searching and
and in your
questions.
research and in everything, it's okay. Don't ever see yourself like you're over curious. No. The more curious you are, the better for your life.
The more you learn
You
about
will
it.
come
Mama,
to, yes.
please lay your hands on me. This is your cup.
Ha.
This is Mommy Gio now. This is not the crown when the Mommy Gios they wear.
Oh,
That's what I'm doing.
I
Lay
get
your hands on me.
I get
Where the only oil here, I beg. You know what to be anointed everybody that come on.
not they collect these people, they don't pay us for this.
Now me be okay.
It's good, Abby. Is good. Read as much as you want to read, explore as much as you want to explore, because at a point in time you will come to your own understanding, your own knowledge, your own truth. Then you'll be able to pass on that knowledge to your children.
Yes.
And they will
But
also
I
search. I don't think you should be afraid though that anything and
Anything
that
will
if you're
go
not
wrong.
going to church, something wrong will happen.
But
You
yeah,
send them abroad now, they're not go.
that's
I'm sorry. The fact is,
But that is
I was raised in Christianity, and I'm taught that is the way.
yeah.
But the doctor will shake me, till I die. They will slaughter me. I have decided to follow Jesus. And the Muslim the same way. The Buddhist feels the same way.
It's religion.
It's religion.
It's personal to
So,
people.
I mean, and they are all, rooted and they are all deeply convicted. They've all had that spiritual experience in their different religions. That should tell you that what we see as Christianity, there's so much more to God,
Yeah.
what we've taught, and we've been boxed into it. And then our own style in Nigeria has actually worsened it.
Yes. That's why we're having this discussion today.
Yeah, so keep on
Because
with
then look at me, people listening to me that know me now say, hey, God, this one has.
People go talk, I beg. You don't do
Every
things.
people will talk, but
Final words.
please that my final words to you for this one is that what you have done, you've sown a seed of cautiousness and awareness. People, and this video is going to be here forever and ever. People will hear your voice. Heck, your children someday will come across this video. They will watch it, hear mommy's voice. You've spoken truth. And this is your truth. And who doesn't agree with it?
Yeah,
That's
fine to
their
disagree.
business. So that's all
We're not trying to convince anybody here. It's just conversations.
Yeah.
Done
That's
your
all.
part.
And continue
you're
with your
doing
reading and continue with your session. And
thank you so much for all the stories.
Really
I'm
appreciate
glad
the
that you're able
stories.
to connect today. We hope that you'll be joining us frequently on other Saturdays as well.
Yeah.
I hope you do so. I always follow your programs. I follow you from listening to you on what's his name, Franklin. Yes, that's right. Yes, and then from Obodo. In fact, that woman has spoiled me. That was what made me start following Gist Lover, and I found you guys on I found you guys on Instagram recently, and Obodo also on Instagram.
Thank you
So
so
I'll
much.
send you a message so you know I'm the one. I don't want to use my that here.
Yeah, do
Okay,
that.
no wala.
All
Thank you
right.
so
So
much.
I always watch, but I always watch after. Because I can't.
No
No
problem.
But
No problem.
I don't download on my phone. So when I'm driving, I'm listening to you guys, But most times I hardly catch you guys.
Oh, that's good.
Thank
Thank
I
you
don't
so
listen to
much.
radio. My radio, I'm sure my radio wonders whether I know how to.
Radio, not mind there. Leave radio.
I
Thank
think a
you
lot
so
of
much. Thank
gossip
you.
when I'm driving. So I'm glad to be here.
Bye. Say
Bye.
hello to the
Say hello to
kids.
your kids and the twins
And
too.
The twins here.
All right.
Bye. Okay, Samolu, you are next. After Samolu is Samolu, unmute yourself. Are you out of the tunnel?
Samolu, are you there? I know
Yes,
that
Samolu.
I know we can see.
If you are still in the tunnel, we
Gigi.
can add
Dominic, and then we'll add Gigi. So you will just
Dominic and Jay. I think Jay was here before.
Oh, Jay was here for Jay.
Mm.
Hey, Dominic.
Hey,
how are you?
Dominic. Hello.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Yes. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm tired.
Oh, nice to see you today. And
I joined late, so
we're talking about the spiritual abuse, how people have been abused, and
if you know anybody that have, and what's like the way forward.
How can we help people who
know or who don't know that they are being manipulated?
Yeah. So let's hear. And I remember you people are part of the people that requested for this topic.
Yeah.
And you say you have a personal experience, so it would be great to hear from you.
If you want to share.
Yeah, if you want to share.
okay.
Yeah.
So, good evening to everybody.
Yes.
I think you guys are still afternoon there, isn't it?
Yes.
So, right. So, okay. So I was a victim of spiritual abuse, but it wasn't just from leaders or whatever. It was also from individuals. And I think what I'm going to say, because other people have already talked about so many different examples of spiritual abuse, but what I'll say it's that spiritual abuse starts with manipulation, and then it turns into coercion, and then it turns into abuse, right? So there are three things which I will say I have learned that helped me, because at this point, what I understood is that the person that's abusing or manipulating you is unlikely to change. So you have to change to come out of that situation. I know it's hard because I've had to do it, but there's no other way out. If you wait for the other person to change, they won't. And even if they change, because you still need that, you will go back to somebody else. And that's how the cycle continues. That's why no matter how many churches you shut down, there'll still be people going to the next church because they're looking for that savior. They're looking for that. So I'm going to talk about the three things, and then I might put in a few stories that have happened to me. So the first thing I'll say is that as somebody who is a victim of manipulation and spiritual abuse, is you need to learn to internalize your decision-making process, okay? So I'll explain what I mean. When you're going through a situation and your first, and most of your decision comes from other people, meaning from outside of yourself, you are more vulnerable to be manipulated, because the more people you speak to about it, the more likely they are to pick out different weaknesses that you have and exploit you to manipulate you. Because what people do when they manipulate you is that they find out what you need, and they find out what they need, and they start convincing you that in order for you to get what you need to give them what they need. So you now get into that firm belief that I need to be able to increase the church, or do this and do that to get what I need, forgetting that the person that's giving it to you isn't that person, it's God. So, but that person is making themselves being like the gatekeeper, okay, the guardian of heaven. So you need them in order to go ahead. So you have to learn to internalize most of your decision-making processes. I mean, I had, I'll talk about the story in a minute anyways. The second thing is about dealing with your fears, okay? So one thing which I learned, I'll be quick because you have a lot of people waiting. So good. I'm just seeing your comment. I was like, there's a lot of people waiting. So I'm like, quick. So the second thing is about, I had to learn to deal with my fears, because one of the main places where I was being manipulated on was about marriage. Okay, I used to believe if I do not get married before I die, I'm just going to be an angry person in heaven if I make it. I'll be like, no, I don't agree. I need to be sent back and have my own, everything. So what was happening was that I was having these spiritual leaders telling me how, somebody was blocking my marriage, and they needed money to go up a mountain to pray for me, deliver me. Then I had another guy who told me that God had told him I was his wife. Then I had a third one who invited me to her church, and she told me that this church, brings husbands, basically, puts people together, if that makes sense. So, the reason why I said you need to handle your fears is because once I went to the first step, which was internalizing most of my decision-making process, when it came to this marriage thing, I said to God, I don't want to stress anymore. It is what it is. So by the time, and in my prayer life, what I had believed I had heard was that I needed to rest, right? So then comes a spiritual leader telling me, no, you have to be fighting. There's somebody, stealing your husband or whatever. So what I then did was I said to the person, can you tell me who it is? Because I'll be chief bridesmaid at her wedding, because I am not going upon them. I am not going to fast and pray right now, because it is what it is. So, and then to the other guy who said, God told me I'm your wife. And I'm like, well, no, tell him I said no. So you have to do these steps, because when you deal with your fears, right, it's harder to manipulate you, because when somebody comes and tries to tell you, because a lot of the time, the way they pass the message is with fear, okay? If you don't do A, B is going to happen. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, if you don't pray right now, you're not going to have a husband, okay? That husband is there waiting for you. And they bring a sense of urgency to you. And you feel like, yeah, I have to do it. Then they make it seem as if they're doing you a favor. That spiritual leader was like, listen, I have a lot of people that have helped. I can give you testimony. They start making a sales pitch You understand what I'm saying? So you have to do it. They start to control you. They want to control you, to control your decision-making process, okay? So you have to deal with your fears. Otherwise, people will deal with them for you. And the third thing I'll say is learn to deal with negative emotions, okay? That's when I am linking with Samulu. I can't believe Samulu and I agree on something today. But when he usually says that people over-spiritualize things, that is what I'm trying to say. Sometimes people do not want to deal with the negative emotions, and they try to find a spiritual reason for what is happening to them, because they can't handle the situation itself. They have to find it's somebody trying to, you know, my village people, I thought they were retired, but apparently they're taking over, you know, or well, this is, you know, you try to over spiritualize things, and that's how a lot of these people come, and they're like, do you know what? I know you have a problem. Do you see that, you know, those dreams that you have? Oh, it's the grandmother of the friend that you've never seen before. It's the auntie, it's the uncle, it's this. And you start thinking, oh, really? Because you don't want to accept that it can just be that, okay, I'm having a, or it can just be, I need to change my friends, or it can just be, I need to set boundaries. So you spiritualize things because that's where you feel comfortable, and you struggle to grow. So those three things I had to go through to stop it, because the spiritual abuse, like I said, is not just a one-time event. It's a mindset. And when you have a mindset that's quite vulnerable, it's easy for you to be manipulated. I'm not blaming you, I'm just stating the fact. It's easy for you to be manipulated, and there's manipulation everywhere. It's everywhere. It's even part of human nature. We have this inclination of manipulation, because when you see a child, for example, you know, a child, you tell a child, don't do something, then they throw a tantrum and they're like, I don't love you, you're not nice, you're not. That's the way of manipulating, but a child doesn't know what it is yet. That's why you have to raise the child. So some people have gone into adulthood not realizing that manipulation is not correct, okay? And manipulation is not correct. So you have adults doing that. And the reason I'm going to say this and end, okay, is that you need to be able to recognize manipulation, because you will not just be manipulated by spiritual leaders, you'll be manipulated by a lot of other people. Today we're talking about spiritual leader, but people use any means to manipulate you, whether it is the Bible, whether it is your illness, whether it is your financial situation. They will use it because you still look at yourself here. So you're still waiting for somebody to come and put your self-esteem where it needs to be. Okay, that has already happened. Like my brother always makes this joke. Okay, sorry, I'm not trying to offend any Christian. I'm a Christian as well. When I try to be the savior, my brother tells me, listen, Dominique, even Jesus, he couldn't do it. That's why he left. You know, he went. I was like, well, that's not quite what happened. He's like, you know, he just said, I can't do it anymore. He said, did you hear on the cross how he said it is finished? He was like, I'm they go. And they go.
It's right though.
I was like, I hear somebody speak to me about that. So that was it. So what I'm trying to say to people is that being an adult is not easy, because you have to make uncomfortable decisions. But don't find the easy way out, because these people manipulate you. They always make you think that they have something that you need, that without you, without them, you can't go where you are meant to go. And you keep believing it. You keep believing it, because when God comes to bless you, you think he's blessing you because
you've done something.
You paid. I mean, when I was growing up, my God, I remember things there. There'll be somebody, this spiritual person that will come, because my mom was very involved in the church and everything. She still is. And he'll come and he'll be like, where's your mother? And I'm like, why are you asking? Are you her husband? Because he will come with such pretense in the house. And my blood is hot when it comes to spiritual abuse. So he'll just come and he'll be like, where's your mother? I need this. Oh, he'll be in a car accident or something. And he'll be like, I was like, I said to my mom, please. Or another one, my aunt, she went to this church, and the pastors were saying that he was struggling because, you know, a lot of people were not giving him money. He said he was doing miracles, you know, but he was targeting the diaspora. And I want to say this to people who are diasporan. You have to be very careful of sharing your story with people back home, because people back home are more vulnerable to being manipulated. So what they do is that they get manipulated. They'll just go and see one pastor, and the pastor will say, oh, I know what you need to happen. This needs to happen. And that specific pastor, a lot of his income was coming from diaspora. He was claiming he was praying, and the womb was open, and all this kind of thing that was happening. And she came in, and I was like, what is going on? So she was telling me, oh, but I have to help him because I really feel bad for him, because, you know, nobody's coming to a lot of his church are poor, so he feels bad. I said to her, wait a minute, Auntie, can I ask something? When he went and he said God gave him this anointing, were you there? She said no. I said, so why is it now your responsibility to make sure his anointing
Him out of the
he
poverty.
claimed he received from God himself is fruitful? That's nothing to do with him. If he feels that his congregation is poor, let him go ask God to give him rich congregation. Is it not God who asks people to come to church? Or is it you? And this is one thing I'll say, and this time I'll end for real.
That's fine. We'll have the
general panel. So even if you want to stay behind for that to talk, you have the general debate.
So I'll say this thing. So African women, we need to be very careful because we were raised to be extra empathetic. We were raised to always trying to mother everybody. Okay. And this is what the problem is happening. We have undisciplined empathy. We empathize without restraint, without boundaries, and without discipline. That is a big problem. Because as an adult, you cannot empathize with everybody. You cannot go into everyone's life and try to fix it.
For everybody,
You can't be there for everybody. That's why a lot of this manipulation affects a lot of African women because they are told. That's even how they manipulate them to go into bad marriages because they keep saying, it's okay. This is your husband. This is who God said you should marry. There's so many stories of men going to pastors, and telling the pastor, this is the woman I want to marry. Can you just go and tell her that I've seen it? And because she's vulnerable, because she thinks, this is right, she's going there. So be careful. And that's why I keep telling people to go to therapy because the reason why people can manipulate you is because emotionally you are immature. That's not an insult. I was there. You are emotionally immature. So you still think like a child. That's why you're still looking for somebody to follow because a child is always looking for who am I going to follow? Where am I going to go? You are an adult now. You don't need an outside compass. You have an internal compass. So you have to learn to know what your internal compass is and move forward rather than wait for someone external to tell you, this is how you have to go because our lives are different. Just because we're going through the same thing doesn't mean we need to have the same outcome. So, and I'll be in the back. I don't know how to be in the back.
Yes, I'll put you in the back now. Thank you so much.
We'll
put everybody on the screen towards the end.
Thank you. These are very powerful points.
Jay, unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself.
After Jay, we have Gigi and Samulu.
Jay, unmute yourself.
We'll put everybody back on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Jay. How are you?
I'm fine.
Thank you for your patience. Okay.
No worries, it's fine. I've just it's been a lot listening to everything that's happening. Thank you though for bringing this topic up. I think it's really important that we have these conversations, especially as Africans. Anyway, I put my name as Jay. It's not my real name, and
that's fine.
And I didn't put my photo because of the kind of things I'm going to talk about. But
that's all right, man. Whatever makes you comfortable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So my family, actually, I would say my parents specifically, have been victims of spiritual abuse. And I'm going to just talk a little bit about our story, just so it gives context. And I'm going to kind of pick up some, lessons along the way. So my dad, when he was younger and he met my mom, he had a really bright future, to be honest. He was very educated, very smart. And then he married my mom, and then they joined this very popular church back home. Now, when my mom was pregnant with me, the labor was actually very difficult. As a matter of fact, I think my mom said that I was breached when I was young. So essentially what that means is you're supposed to come out as a baby with your head first, but then when it's time for labor, you're coming out with your butt. Yeah, exactly. You're not coming out in the safest position. And when you don't have access to education or knowledge, you tend to spiritualize things that probably shouldn't be spiritualized. Now, most of the time when you have a breached baby, what they would tell you is either they wait for the child to actually turn head first, and then you can have the child safely, or you do cesarean section. I say all of this because my parents' first child, they were panicking. They didn't really know. And then my dad decided to call the pastor of this church that he was, attending to come and pray for my mom. And then I guess he couldn't come. So he sent, not anointing oil, but white mantle. That he should go and rub it on my mom's belly, and then everything, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, at the end of the day, my mom was able to give birth to me successfully. But frankly speaking, I think it was because of the help of the doctors. Did they get any credit for the work that they did? No. Because my parents assumed that, God sent this ministry to have this baby. And then that's kind of where not the brainwashing, but the critical thinking starts to leave the room.
Yes.
So you start attributing things that should never have been attributed to
a human being for spiritual purposes.
Yeah.
You negate the years that somebody has gone to school for medical school.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So it then started to color the way my dad said to see things. And then eventually, he decided to become a full-time pastor at this place. And he was a full-time pastor up until recently. So that's almost like 30 years.
Wow.
But decades and decades and decades of lifelong service. Do they pay them well? No. Do they allow you to have your business if you're a full-time pastor in the church? I'm sure people in the chat know the ministry I'm talking about. Do they let you have a full-time job and have your business on the side as a pastor? No.
Really?
But people on the outside will think that, oh, of course, because you're going to this, super interesting church that has the pastor has 10 private jets. Essentially, if you're a pastor in that church, you are also making bank, and you're making a lot of money, and you also have the expenses to live a lavish lifestyle. But the truth of the matter is all fake. There's only a few people that have access to the money. Because my father worked for the church, they had schools, have a chain of schools, and we attended the schools. And then, if you think about it, you think that, okay, because you work for the church, your child should maybe not pay school fees, or maybe pay 50%.
Yes.
That wasn't the case. We paid 100% of the fees. And that those fees are not cheap.
They're not cheap.
And then also preface that with the fact that they pay them peanuts, essentially.
Yeah.
So, after everything was said and done, things ended in a really bad way. I'm not going to go into details because then it starts to kind of expose.
Yeah,
exactly. But it didn't end well, and they treated them like nothing.
I'm sorry.
No, even after all of that, my dad the other day was not the other day, but last year, he was like, "Oh, so are you going to attend?" I'm not going to call the name, but you know how they have are you going to attend? Blah blah blah. I'm like, are you serious? Even after everything that has happened, you still want to.
You want to
exactly.
That's what they are used to. That's what they are used to.
Exactly.
Fear of change.
Exactly. So, and the abuse takes different forms. I'm trying to be as coded as possible, but they're very, very. There are many instances of, you don't really have your life. Your life is not yours. You weren't able to have quote unquote a family home where everybody knows our family, because what they did is essentially move you from state to state, that you don't even have that stability to build your life. So now at their age, they are starting over, unfortunately.
Oh my God.
Very at the age where they shouldn't be. But luckily, their children are adults and support at this time. But I can only imagine if things ended at a different. Anyway, I say all of this to say that I don't want to be rude, but I think that the older generation, just don't wait. At this point, it's just, I feel like common sense in that generation, for the people that don't have it, has already left the room. I think be focused now on the people that are coming behind us. And one piece of advice I would say, even for the lady that was talking about, she doesn't really know what to do with her kids, is encourage critical thinking from your children. One thing about Nigerian culture is that they will say, if you ask questions, shut up, how do you want to even know that? Or if you ask questions about the Bible, because if you look at the Bible logically, there are gaps. And if anybody's mad in the comments, they can be mad. But
Jay, forget who is mad.
Jay, don't you know the
Okay, all right.
Like, Jay, you know us now. This is the only platform where you can speak your truth.
Please,
okay,
free yourself.
All
Free
right.
yourself, my sister. Say what you want to say.
So there are gaps. And if you read the Bible from cover to cover, you have questions. And when you ask those questions, I'm sure people have heard this. Oh, you cannot, I heard this story as a child where they said there was somebody that was asking questions and then they ran mad or something like that. Or they died because they were questioning the scriptures. So they have these tools in place to keep you thinking logically.
Yes.
As people, raising kids or raising children for the next generation, encourage your children to ask questions. Don't know. There is no shame in saying, I don't know.
Thank you.
Respect.
You don't know. Don't say, why are you asking all these questions? Ask questions. Because when I moved to Canada, one thing that struck me is, as I was, I was living in with my aunt, and my aunt at the time had my niece was was a very small kid at the time. And then every time she would come and she would ask me, for example, I'm just throwing this out there, well, Joy, why is it cold outside? And I'm like, I don't know why it's cold outside. And then it's because it's winter time that it's cold outside. And then she'll ask, but why is it cold at this time? And I'm like, because in this I'll be answering, and then she will ask, but why? And she will keep asking.
Yeah.
The point where you're like, oh my God, who sent you? And then you're just kind of like, you know what? You want your kids to ask these questions. And sometimes, you know what? I don't know. If you figure it out, let me know, because I don't know. And then sometimes she'll come back and she'll actually tell me that she figured something out.
Yeah.
So encourage your children to think critically for themselves. One thing that happened, unfortunately, is that, religion was kind of forced upon our parents. And maybe it's because they didn't have critical thinking. Unfortunately, our country is in a position where things don't work, that like, if you use your logical sense, it's like things should be working, but because things don't work, things that you're supposed to have, you don't have, people start to try to wrap their minds around why it's not working. And then they figure out that, if I put this lack of, healthcare, the fact that, God is blessing me or something like that, just to rationalize the unrationalizable.
Make me not go insane.
Exactly. Like testimonies about, there
was an accident on the road and I survived.
Exactly.
They didn't die because they were sinners.
Exactly.
Was bad.
Or like, in our estate or on our street, there hasn't been light for 2 months. But then I had this exam and I need light. And then for the next 1 week before my exam, there was light 4 hours. And then I was able to read for my exam and then I passed. Like, are you serious? Are you supposed to be? Why are you praying for lights in the first place?
Thank you.
What I'm trying to say is encourage children to think critically
for themselves.
You as an adult, you have access to more information than any of our predecessors has had. Time to understand what it is that you're even believing in and you're praying for. Just use your
common sense. Jay, don't worry, we understand you. And everybody in the comments understands what you're saying. And I love how thank you so much to everybody that's commenting and telling Jay to be free and everything.
Yeah,
we are free because
God got you, man.
Like Jesus would say, we did not come here to make anybody happy.
No.
We are here to cause tension, because it's in this tension that your conscience will be reawakened.
And this is how we are normally. It's not, we're not acting. If you meet me on the street tomorrow, it is the same basic.
What I have to say is, the only thing is that we are respectful. I might not agree with you, might not agree with me, but you've heard your piece, I've heard my piece. everybody go their own way.
And
But
sometimes-
at least we're sowing that seed.
Yeah. And somebody will come and listen to your talk today, Jay, and they'll be aware. You've also shared a very critical knowledge we will never know about the inside of what the pastors do also go through and all that.
Because I didn't even know that.
You see what I'm saying?
I used to think all of them need to enjoy it.
Yes,
Like
ma'am.
if one has private jet, why won't you be flying your
with your
junior pastor,
Yeah.
senior pastor?
Yeah.
It makes sense to me.
These are the questions that I keep asking, and the truth of the matter is, until and so it's really unfortunate, but like even people that come and say God called them, I'm like, okay,
They
fine.
didn't tell you which of the gods. That's the problem.
It's like, sure, God called you, or you're not hearing voices, like or you say you were fasting for 40 days and you heard something. Part of being hungry is sometimes you lose.
You hear voices.
You are the woman that was praying for her husband to stop shitting and she was fasting and she died.
Exactly. It's like when you're in that state of hunger, you're probably more susceptible to certain things. Maybe voices, and maybe someone didn't actually call you. Just like start thinking logically about some of the things that we're doing, and not following blindly because somebody said God called them, because somebody said this, because somebody said that. Give of your salary, and then you can't even afford to eat
or collect loans. Not some people, they use credit card now, they so seed for church for abroad.
Oh, please, we're focusing on Africa today. Let's know.
They are the Africans that are doing it.
Yeah, I feel and I'm going to finish my contribution and let other people speak. But Nigeria is a footprint, is the clear example of a country that has been ravaged by spiritual abuse. If you take the 10% that everybody is donating as tithe and you say you want to invest that into industry, agriculture, we won't be where we are today. And that you're giving every day to somebody to okay, let me just ask this critical question before I leave is you're giving 10% to this person every month, right? He has 10 private jets. If your kid gets sick tomorrow and he needs surgery, and the only place he can do the surgery is, let me not even go far, let's say South Africa or Ghana. Do you think your pastor will lend you his private jet to fly you for the surgery? Just let's be using our sense. Let's just be be thinking about these things critically. Think about these things and don't just jump blindly. And if your children have questions and you don't know, tell them you don't know. And ask research. You yourself do research. Stop following because your dad was a pastor or your dad was an imam or your dad doesn't mean that you have to buy into that. A part of the reason why people drag if you read I'm going to end on this, I promise. If you look at the characteristics of a cult, just go online and I think there's 7 or 10 of them. They'll ask you, there's 10 characteristics of a cult. And one of the things that they mention in there is isolation. And the isolation itself doesn't mean that they say don't talk to your friends, don't talk to your family, don't talk to your this. Is my church is better than your church because I'm Christian, Muslims are not this. Christians are not this. Exactly. Look at that list and look at what characteristics of a cult is. And if you're already seeing that there's too much of a link between where you are going and a cult, maybe you should take some time to reconsider. Anyway, thank you guys.
That's my way to end this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for contributing, for being open, and you enlightened us today because I had no idea that this was also happening with like pastors and who also suffer within the church from the spiritual abuse.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay. We have Gigi in the house.
Hello.
Gigi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, fabulous. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, so nice to finally speak.
Thank you for your patience.
We can stay on this topic forever, especially Nigeria. Oh my God. I don't think it will ever disappear. But what you're doing is good. Raising awareness and educating people. Hopefully one day at least a greater percentage of people will be able to begin to think for themselves, use their brain, use their head, eyes wide open and question things. We need to have, critical thinking ability. And just like the last caller said, it's just really, if you see the life, you can actually compare it with the life of a person who has been abused, someone in an abusive relationship, and you're saying to this person, come away, and they're saying, oh, the person will change, and you looking from the outside, you're saying, but this person is abusing you, you need to come away from this relationship. This is how Nigeria is. The people are, what do you call it? They're in a coma. They can't see that the leaders or the people or the church leaders or whatever, or religious leaders are actually abusing them. They don't know that they have they're in an abusive relationship. That's the way I see it, until they are killed or until they die. And that's where, we're trying, especially in Obodo Igbo TV, trying to encourage women to come away from such place. It takes the grace of God to actually re-engineer the mindset of people. It requires a lot of re-engineering. And I think it boils down to exposure, what people expose themselves to, and people's personality. Growing up in Nigeria, I mean, I was only a little girl. I think I must have been about 10 or 11 when I had an encounter with God. And it was in my room. It was not in a church. It was not in a building, so to say, not particularly a church, not in a building. I was in my living room just watching a program, and I made a commitment to God. And my personality is that kind of personality that I can be all by myself in a place, and I don't need anybody to tell me to do this or to do that. I love to read a lot. I read a lot. Perhaps not as much these days, but growing up, I read a lot. I read all sorts of books and all sorts of things. I exposed myself to history, exposed myself to all kinds of things, all kinds of books and so on. So maybe that helped me in making my decision as an independent thinker. Yes, as a Christian, Christianity is how I express my love for God. But I'm not stupid.
I like the way you dropped it.
Yeah, just read the Bible for yourself.
Exactly.
Just read, pray, spend time to know this God. Then the truth will be exposed to you. No one can say to you, oh, give me this amount of money and this will happen. That is rubbish. That is gimmick. That is buffoonery. I don't know. I don't even have the words to explain what it is. I don't know how people fall into such traps, such, nonsense. I remember as a little girl, my mom used to go to these places where they would take her to the river to be bathed or something, because of course she was having marital problems. And so they told her that, you go to this place and pray for you, and your husband will come back all changed and transformed. The woman was in an abusive relationship. She needed counseling. But of course, she didn't go for counseling. She was going to all these, quack places. And I would say to her, just bring goat, bring chicken, bring that. And these are so-called Christian, GOs.
Charlatans, geos now.
Charlatans.
Hungry geos.
Yeah. Money. She's I don't know anyone who spent so much money giving monies to pastors. Even to date, she still sends money to some of these people in Nigeria. I don't know. It would take the grace of God to break that nonsense. But at least she's much better now. But I remember saying to her, I was only a little girl. I remember saying to her, I have read the Bible, at least the New Testament. I have not seen where you have to bring this or that for something, for a miracle to happen, or for something for your life to be transformed. Or perhaps even if you're praying for many years for this to happen, it's not happening. Perhaps you want to change your mindset to something else and focus on something else. Perhaps a door will be opened in another direction. You know, I mean, to me, this is simple. You know, I don't know. Or I have friends who they have fibroids and so on, and you know, they're saying, "Oh, don't have it removed." You know, it's going to come out. You know, if you go to the doctors or whatever, you have no faith. You know, and this, I've actually two friends have died. Common fibroid, we take it for granted in the Western world. You know, just have it taken out, depending on the position, of course, or where the location or whatever. I really don't know. This thing really upsets me so much. It upsets me so much that people can't really just spend time with God by yourself.
For yourself, yeah.
Study.
That's the thing. That's like
why do you need somebody to intervene for you? Why do you? Even the Bible himself said, "Come boldly to the throne." It didn't say go through so and so
Go to a
person.
middleman to come to the
go
throne.
through a geo.
Go to a middle
with
person.
a POS.
I mean, God is not a gossiper. I mean, for you to tell me, oh, God is saying this about you. No, I have to know first.
God is not a gossiper.
Whatever you're saying to me has to be confirmed. You know, I mean, I already know it. It will just be a confirmation. And if it's not a confirmation, then it's not. You're just talking rubbish. You know, how can you know you know, something about me more than me wanting to know about myself? I mean, I know where it pinches. So please just go and spend time with God, you know, yourself, and find out. Just study. Just laziness. It's just pure laziness.
Yeah.
And I remember one of such time, I think I must have been about maybe 18 or something. And I was ready that day. I said, wherever this woman is going, I'm going with her. So she was going to one of those pastors or whatever they call them. And I said I was coming with her. Oh, you're not coming. You won't like. You need to wear long dress or tie, whatever. I said, yeah, I'll go with you. I'm coming because I want to see this place that you go to, and you can't really, you know, spend time in your own time and know things for yourself, and then follow the, you know, just toe the line and just do the right things you need to do rather than having to go from one place to another. Then we got there. I mean, it took a lot of persuasion. I finally went with her. And then when we got there, they told me to take off my shoes because I'm walking on in the holy whatever crap. You know, I refused. And then they say I should kneel down. I know I'm a very quiet person, but tell the honest truth, I am quietly stubborn.
You don't take nonsense.
Yeah. So and they said I should kneel down. Okay, that I could do because we're in Nigeria then at that point in time. So as a sign of respect, I knelt down before this guy, and then he started what they call prophecy. Oh, that I have committed this abortion and that abortion and this and this and that. Because at this time, I have never even kissed a man before in my life. Never. I said, what? I said, so this is the type of things that, you guys dish out to my mom. I said, me, I'm different too. I'm different. At that point, I got up. I started lambasting this man.
Wow.
And they all gathered. They were shouting, oh, she's demon possessed. I said, no, it's you that is demon possessed. It's you that is demon possessed. So this is what, do you know what? I went to where I dragged. I said, so this is where you come to. This are the people that you're following. I said, you yourself, you need deliverance. That was how I dragged that out from that place. I'm sure I was less than 18 when that happened, And so it's people need to they need to expose themselves, really. They need to, be open to platforms like this and listen with an open mind, and transform their lives. And I remember my first degree I had in Nigeria. I think in Nigeria, once you pass your WAEC, you do exam, and then you go into, I was quite young when I went into university. You can get into university even at the age of 14 or 16 in Nigeria, which is terrible. But however, I was in this campus fellowship, and some of the so-called leaders of the fellowship went to a so-called mountain somewhere in Jos in Plateau State to go and pray. And they came back, and they now called out a few people that their presence in the fellowship is disturbing the flow of the Spirit of God. Did you hear me?
The spirit that lives within us.
So-called people, that their presence, that they are involved in some darkness, that their presence is disturbing the flow of this. In other words, they're saying that these people are more powerful than God.
Wow.
That's the implication.
That's what it is now.
Exactly. That's the implication.
That's common sense in this thing, yeah.
And of course, I was one of those people they called out. I mean, looking back.
Because they knew that they needed critical thinking out of there.
You were the voice of wisdom, the voice of reason and
so they
common
needed
sense.
you to be out of there, so they can.
Yes, now.
The
They want me because I don't.
nonsense.
Whenever they say something, I'll go and question. You said this the other day. You said, but the scripture said this and that and that. I know me. I used to argue.
Yeah,
I used to argue. Well, they used to call me. I can't even remember. But I'm that kind of person that in those days you have to tie your hair and all those things. I mean, we're talking about the 80s and so on. You have to tie your hair. Me, I didn't used to tie my hair. I didn't used to tie any scarf. I used to wear knicker. I even used to wear, shorts and so on to church.
You're really trying them in that church too. At that time. That's why they said they needed it to be out of you. Because you're obstructing their flow.
Before you come and gather their flock to be critical thinking.
I see that with you.
Oh my God. No, I was a rebel. Quietly, but quite, I did my own thing, my conscience was clear. I did my spirit was clean and everything, but I love to dress up.
Yeah, man.
I love to wear mini. I love to wear trousers. You can't tell me not to wear trousers. You can't tell me not to tie my. I mean, how many times they stop me at the entrance to the to the fellowship and tell me I should tie a scarf? I'll say no. I said no. This is how I want to be, and this is how I'm going to enter. So I was one of those people that that they said our presence in the fellowship was disturbing the flow of the Spirit of God. They actually lined us up in the presence of hundreds of people. Sometimes this is abuse.
To shame you people. Wow.
To shame us.
That's terrible.
I will never forget that experience. They lined us up, I think they were up to about 11 or 12 of us. This thing, the psychological trauma this brought some people. But I'm a very resilient person. Instead, I continued. Even I wanted to leave the place, but I felt I didn't want to have to leave campus to go to, to go to church or to go for, to fellowship with people. I continued. I didn't leave. However, the irony is that the same people who went to the mountain that God spoke to, some of them did not even finish the program. Some of them ended up, getting pregnant and they were sent out of school. These are the so-called holier than.
So they got the anointing hits them in the pregnancy.
Not the anointing.
They were busy when they were going to the mountain. They were busy there.
Okay, knocking each other anointedly.
Yes, anointed kerewa.
Anointed kerewa. A twingilaga, so that the overseer.
Whoa!
You were the overseer of common sense.
At the climax of the mountain.
At the climax of the mountain, They were intertwined.
They were intertwined. That's the right word. Yes. Hey, my God.
Now wow.
Oh, what a fruitful anointing they went to at the
Oh
mouth.
my God. No, that was my first abuse in the church.
Oh my God.
But I thank God because I did not when I had an experience with God, it was not under anybody or through anybody. It was just me and God there in one room, and I committed myself to Him. So I knew the person. I've never been to any so-called sort of done any fetish things or involved myself in any kind of evil spirit or open my mind to such things. So I for anyone to say that this and that about me, the person definitely is not hearing from God. So those things never bothered me, because I knew the God I serve. I knew I served the true God. So it's terrible what is going on in Nigeria, and we just have to keep up and keep saying it and keep saying it and cannot give up, because these people are shortchanged.
That's true.
And they are vulnerable. Most of them are vulnerable. Some of them don't even know, because so they sort of they latch on these vulnerable people. And that's one of the scriptures I actually read today amazingly. It's in 2 Timothy 3. It says, they are the kind who work their way into people's homes and win the confidence of vulnerable women who are burdened with the guilt of sin. There's some, we know women are so soft-hearted, so whatever. You just have to tell them, oh, you did this, and that's God is angry with you and everything. I know women, they just want to please God. They want to, everything. And then they start listening to everything that these people are, and that's it. They just grab them. Once they grab their attention, then they say, oh, come with that, oh, come with that, bring this, and they just keep doing this, and they brainwash them. They brainwash them, and we just have to keep at it. Yes, we pray, but programs like this, like yours, would help to open up the minds of people, open up their eyes to all these things. So please don't stop. As you're doing it, just be, do it that, there's some people genuinely that don't know and they fall into this trap. Whereas there are people who have heard, but, they are stupidly brainwashed, but stupidly following blindly, and they are gaining from it as well. Such people, we have no pity for them, but we have pity for those who don't know.
Who don't know genuinely. Yes.
Actually don't know. Yeah.
I was thankful to you too, Gigi, for contributing today. You see, if there's somebody who is what did somebody say? I think it was Neka that said rebel for Christ. There's a young girl or young guy out there who is one of those spirits that they are driving out of the church. If they listen to you today, they will say, somebody has done it before. Gigi has done it before. So I'm going to be doing it. Yeah. So thank you so much for the contribution of today. We're very, very happy that we're able to call in with your calm voice. We were always high. So your voice is even
so soothing.
It's calming us down.
It pierces the soul.
It pierces us.
Yeah, and we learned a new word.
Yes, definitely. New words, different words from Gigi today. Thank you so much, Gigi.
Thank you so much. Keep it up.
We'll bring in Samolu now before everybody comes in. And just before that, we noticed that two contributions. I think this one is from Phyllis. It says, to a large extent, I agree with all the contributions. Two problems I see. There are too many lazy and ignorant people posing as Christians. That's true. And some greedy psychopaths posing as men of God. And if anyone came and said, it's about time Christians begin to actually study the Bible and understand it. Don't wait for any GO means general overseer or pastor, to give you their own interpretation of the Bible. And we bring in the one and only Samolu in the house.
The shakers of everything.
Samolu.
After Samolu, then we have our normal argument debate.
With everybody.
Please, with all.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Away from the tunnel.
Through the tunnel and through the screen.
Yes. I was driving when I joined the live chat. I went to see a friend. I went out generally, but you started. The time has changed, so that was what really you started. Now
the time is starting from here is 6 o'clock. And now, yes.
Daylight savings.
I thought it was tomorrow. It's starting. No, not tomorrow.
I thought it was tomorrow.
No, they changed time in UK in last about a week ago.
Okay.
So that is it. And by the time I go home, thank God you didn't call me. I had to start quickly make some dodo and some to really cool down.
No wala.
It's been a great amazing listening to everyone. And I wanted to start from where there was a lady that talked and was talking about DSA. That you say, oh, you've never heard about that pastor before.
Yes.
Dr. Sunday Adelaja is the one. It was the one that I really also see a lot of abuses and manipulation that is going on in the church. Yeah, Sunday Adelaja used to be one of those pastors in Nigeria, although his church is in Ukraine, in Europe. He has the largest Pentecostal church in Europe at the time before he decentralized the church. And his church is about 99% white. So he's the one that actually came on Facebook, even before that the freestyle saying all these things, to really expose this pastor. Because he has preached in all their churches. He's a winner with him. He's preached in all their churches. So he's somebody that they celebrate. He's one of them. He's like their golden boy. They used to make reference to him. They used to make reference about him that, he has a big congregation in Europe full of white people. He's still pastoring the church today. I follow him and I listen. So there was a time for like 2 years, he make it a point of habit to analyze all their pastors preaching, their videos, and you will now begin to understand all the manipulation that you don't even realize you are being manipulated. In fact, recently, he shared a video of Matthew Ashimolo talking about this guy that died, this developer that had the building collapse recently. So that video, he has analyzed that video about 2 or 3 years ago. And he was saying that, why do you ask to glorify someone like that? You don't even know where he's making his money. You don't even know, maybe he's doing fraud. He even shared the video again today. And this is what he has analyzed when Atimolo was talking about this guy. When I lay hands on him and this, when I lay hands, he said he making it about himself. It's only when he lay hands. He said, why can't you go and lay hands on all your members of your family and let them become a developer like that guy? So this is a pastor exposing them. And when he begin to expose them, they begin to tell all their members, oh, this guy is an antichrist. Don't follow him. Don't listen to him. Don't do this. Don't do that. All of them,
aligning with the spirit.
They now begin to, bring a lot of, conspiracy, lies against. There was even a time that they said they went on the mountain. He said that they said they got one that I'm going to die in 3 months' time. Let's see if their God is powerful than man, I will die. He's still there for 3 years. He has not died. Even me, when I put something on Facebook, I will get some threat from some of their followers who has been, they brainwash, damage their mind, and they will say, oh, you're going to die, you're going to do this. I'm still here, I won't die. You're just deceiving yourself. It's not going to happen. Let me see one of the abuses that I remember when I was still going to church. There was this lady. It was my colleague in office. So I didn't even know we were working in the same bank until one day we went for a training. I just saw her. I said, oh, I know you in my church. He said, yeah. And we now became very close friends. And, our pastors then, they used to bring, all these sweet talker pastors to church to come and do fundraising. And and this girl and this pastor was saying, I did 7 people that will give me 1 million naira. As at this time, 1 million naira is equivalent to about 4,000 pounds today, because it was 250 to 1 naira then, or even less. I'm talking about 2012, 2011, 2012. So he called people that would donate 1 million naira, this and that. I saw that girl walked out. I said,
In my mind, I said, is this guy going to drop all our upfront allowance? Because they used to pay us one kind of money then, upfront. Then we used to call our bank oil and gas bank because we used to get a lot of money there in that bank. I was saying, this guy is going to pay all our upfront because I calculated the money is almost $1 million. She's going to drop it. Eventually, she dropped the money. Do you know 6 months after then, the bank went into crisis? That was when Cecilia Ibu was removed. Akingbola, they were removed. And do you know what? The bank started sacking people. They sacked this lady. She was sacked.
Oh my God.
She lost her job after dropping that kind of money. I also have been abused. I've been manipulated. I think the highest I've dropped, I was then about. The pastor came to my church then and he started telling, I pray on this guy, he got a contract of 2.5 billion, this and that. I was thinking I can even get the contract too. I dropped on the, is it 100K? 100K, there was equivalent of about 400 pounds today. So, and that was the highest I've dropped anyway. I dropped that money. I was actually, yes, please.
Your category, I beg, wait, better come on, all these plenty. Your category, was it David, Nehemiah, or Ezra?
Oh my God. I dropped the money, sowing seed, expecting that one that will be how do you call it? Something will happen somewhere. But I don't have any other job. I don't have any other job. Where is the money going to come from? Where am I going to get it? So these are some of the abuses and manipulation that we all have, experienced, going through all this, being a member of this church. And over time, I suddenly began to wake up because I see my church then I was attending, my pastor he was driving a bit when he started the church. Over time, he started riding a jeep and started sending all the kids to US to go to school. And why all the members are there suffering? 3 days ago, I posted a flyer showing it's my year of turnaround, 2000. It's my year of turnaround, year 2010. It's my year of turnaround, year 2020. It's my year of turnaround, 2020. Can you imagine? You keep going to that program for all your lives. In the last 30 years, there has never been a change. And you keep it's a cycle.
People tweet itself every time. Today is your day of this thing. Things shall come for you to write, but they are there flying private jets behind you.
Yes, and it is a cycle. Like somebody said the other day that you are a member of this church. Let's say you want to go and do operation. I was telling my friend, I said, this money that you keep paying, the tithe you pay every month, why can't you go and open an insurance policy where you begin to drop this money? Do you know what it will be in 10 years? You can even use the money to send your kid to go and school abroad if Nigeria education is not working. You are still a young guy. You have a kid going on. Why do you have to pay 30% of this money to someone every month? I was once, manipulated. I was actually born in a church that doesn't believe in giving tithe and all those stuff. But suddenly, I now realized. In my mind, I went to uni, and I began to interact with all these Pentecostal church house fellowship on campus. And they focus more on prosperity and that. And I was looking at my parents' church that they are being conservative. I don't really see so much of prosperity. They just preach contentment and all these things. So I also fall into that trap of going to this Pentecostal church of paying tithes. And I was also doing the tithes, business that you do this.
From your salary, like this Archbishop was asking.
Which bishop is that? Okay, that was in Uganda. A pastor that said you got.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me not distract you. I had some.
So, everybody has said, most people have said, a majority of people have actually, say a lot of things that I would like to point out on. And there is something that Dominic put on the on in the chat that I saw said that we should also talk about not only about religious abuse, it's also religious religious abuse sexually. You know, women are being abused sexually. There is this pastor in Abuja is very, you know, notorious for, you know, abusing the church member. Do you know how she cajoled them? When I listened to this lady that that was abused, the lady was living in, maybe she's still in the UK. He said when he came, he said there is this level of grace that you have never experienced. I want to take you to. That is like, you know, it's like saying that if I sleep with you, I'm going to transfer some grace into your life. And you know, a lot of girls fall for all these pastors and sleeping with them because they believe that when they had this sexual relationship with their pastor, they are getting this grace, they are getting this something that that you cannot really explain. And a lot of ladies have been manipulated, been abused, and all those. That is why when I was single, if you are very close to pastor, the moment I see you are a pastor, this thing, I will just gap back. I don't even look back. If I love you, that's the love, but the battery will just come to zero. Yeah, see, that was since when I was single. I don't ever want to be very close to any lady that is saying, if you keep talking and my pastor says this, it's a red flag for me. Because I have seen how, you know, some of them have been, some of these things, we saw them when we were with them, but we don't really pay so much attention to you, or we've been brainwashed and we think that, we don't really see, it's bad or something. So in my mind, but that aspect, I don't really, I'll just say this one is one of those, I don't really like somebody that is so spiritual, because when I used to go to club, I enjoy myself. So I like somebody that we can say, okay, let's go to club. You not be telling me I want to go to house fellowship. Oh, come on. This is going to be boring.
Which Lord? Lord of doom. Lord of doom. Lord, let's have it.
Oh my God. So somebody was saying Samolu was not pressured into borrowing to give to church. Nigerians are encouraged to borrow money to give to their church sometimes.
Yeah.
Of course. You know, there was a time I was listening to this pastor. I just saw the video. He was saying that people should pay tithe. He was with Matthew Ashimolo preaching to his church member. He was saying that they should pay their tithe before tax. He was actually telling them that your tithe must be paid before tax. In other words, you are paying for what you have not even earned. So let's say you are going to be earning about £5,000, your tax is about 2,000 or something. So he wants you to pay your tax before tax. So who does that? It's just a way of manipulating.
From the Ugandan bishop. Now prison before paradise. So oh my goodness. Someone please continue. We're adding everybody too.
We're adding everybody to the stream. Now, this is the debate session.
Yeah,
okay. I think let me stop here. Let's others talk. So let's have the debate.
So okay. We will not say how we can help people.
How did you reach this?
Okay.
Awareness.
Okay.
Exactly.
How do we help people? You know, a lot of time I am very, very, very blunt. If you on my Facebook, I used to put a lot of posts on my Facebook. You know, sometimes I hit them very hard. Some of these religious people, I hit them. But do you know what? I have gotten some kind of feedback and confession from people that have personally come into my DM and tell me that, do you know that all your posts and this has really helped me? Because I have been so foolish. I believe, because I have some of my neighbor that they know us in our family that we are very religious person. Because I grew up in a family whereby you do morning devotion together as a family. We do night devotion. We even have a bell that we ring and we ring them. Some of our neighbors will come. Yes, some of our neighbors will come and join us. So that's the kind of family I grew up. But when some of these people that used to be our neighbor, you know, everybody has gone their way, but we are friends on Facebook, and they see what I post, they were so they were saying, so if this is coming from this guy who who was born into this, then they don't really go to church, and they have now been being soaked into that church tradition that they so they don't really understand, they don't really know the truth from the lies, but they know that I was born into it. I know the truth, and they come into my ear. They say, you have really helped me, because it is your post that now begin to give me that sense of ability to process things and think about it and be logical, and not giving it to all their emotions and manipulation and all those stuff. Because see, I have challenged them so many times, and I tell them, each time they tell you to do this, I do the opposite. I remember when my mom died in 2007, then there's this church, this prophet that used to use our play compound to do house fellowship. But then they see that, this guy is working in the back.
Fellowship house too. This is too much.
Yes, now they were using our compound for fellowship. And they said that, this guy is working in bank, so he must be the one that has money. So they started telling me that they killed my mom, is this and that the people that they are coming for me and this thing, and I should do all this fasting. And I told my sister, I said, tell that guy all this nonsense he's talking. He's not talking to me, because I'm not going to do all the nonsense he's talking. I'm not going to do any fasting. I just ignored them completely. But they were able to manipulate my immediate senior brother. That one will be giving them money. They were taking money from here. Until when I realized, this guy is lying to you, they're just taking your money. Nothing is going to happen to anybody. There's nothing going to happen. Nothing happened to me till date. I was even the one that sacked them from using the compound to do their fellowship again. I said,
Samuel, it's because of the 100K that you paid that nothing has happened to you.
But they are not I paid it to another pastor. I paid it to another pastor, not them. So I'm not sure if that one is the one working for me.
You don't anything is transferable.
Blackberry phone, 100K.
See, 100K. I'm talking. This 100K I'm talking about 2008 or 2009, somewhere around that time.
Let me shock you now, Samolu.
Use both Blackberry boat or so seed boat. Blackberry boat.
I asked whether the pastor needed to send the BBM to God. Nobody has answered me. So why was he so specific?
I told Amoye, she called it that. We tell Amoye, say the pastor did not only take your boat, he took your pin. Your Blackberry
boat. Oh my God!
I'm still upset about that too. Anybody want to know the pastor? I they beg now. Mona tell her, I want my boat. I want her back or the equivalent.
We go gather the courage from Gigi, go mountain.
Because the matter still they pay me. Anytime I remember, I'll say the prayer self. I no get answer for inside. You don't carry my boat, carry pin join, not tea. Even they use my test for when I know. Because they tell me that they tell me you say me. I know they use.
Honestly, do you still use BB? Do you still use BlackBerry?
No, I don't. But then at that time, it was the.
That was one of the it's not like iPhone 13.
I saved up some money. I was able to buy it. I was carrying my shoulder high. I was like, man, I've arrived. It's easy to have both. And then this pastor, he said, so I said, I don't have money, sir. He said, okay, what do you have in your hand? Okay, I see you have BlackBerry. So it. I'm still very upset. The way he said it, the tone of the way he fixed his mouth to say it. The way the thing just they annoy me as I just remember now, but more not remember. More just leave this matter because that pastor, wherever you are, pastor, you go use that boat till you be 80. Now that boat, now you go use it. I have one good thing to share, right?
Yeah.
So I have a friend, right? I had this friend, then she was born again from like when we were in high school.
Born again,
primary school. Born again. I'm telling you, all these born again people. I'm telling you. So anyway,
Common sense, sister. Let Omoye finish now.
Thank you, Dominic. Don't mind. Common sense sisters, they have a way of making everybody laugh. Okay, so this particular girl now, beautiful. She started narrating her experience. So she used to go to a particular church. It's a big church in Nigeria. I don't want to mention names because there are a lot of very overactive members. So she used to go to this big church. When she would go to the church, when she would sit like maybe towards the front where the pastor is, the ushers will come and tell her to move her stuff and go sit at the back. Do you know why they kept telling her to do that? Till this very moment, she was always, everywhere she goes, she'll just sit at the back. No matter how much space there is in front, she always wants to sit at the back. She said, do you know why? So she was sharing it and she said, do you know why? That she didn't even realize until it dawned on her one day that it was something somebody said to her. She used to go to this church and then somebody told her, don't be coming to sit in front of the church because when the pastor sees you, he's always distracted. This girl I'm talking about, beautiful physically, beautiful on the inside and out, and she wears, nice clothes. She's a very modest. She dresses up really modestly. You know how we are in Africa, right? In Nigeria, the way people dress. They told her not to sit in front of the church because the pastor will be distracted just by looking at her. So that thing had sank into her so much that wherever she goes, she just finds herself sitting at the back. She didn't question it until one day she realized this thing is always happening. Why do I always have to sit at the back? And she thought about it deep enough and she figured out that was why. That's part of the spiritual manipulation. I've been to a church where the pastor, asked, said, oh, you don't have a ring, you're not married. Oh, I have a brother, blah, 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 this and that. I said, no, I'm not interested. Thank you very much, pastor. Oh, do you have friends? Yes, I have multiple people that I'm talking to. And the man almost lost his mind and said, no, you shouldn't be talking to multiple men. I said, I do. So they do it in very subtle ways and in very in-your-face way. They would use you. If you're serving in the church, I've been approached to be a protocol for a pastor's wife before. And that thing, I detested it. I was like, I don't want to be protocol. Protocol, I don't want to follow that. They open door for pastor wife. They help her carry a bag. Relatively, in a slave work. Let's just call it what it is. So because I was so against my nature, I said, okay, well, let me just do it and see what happens. And then one day I was in the restroom. I came out. And I was in the restroom and this apparently she was looking for me and she couldn't find me. So I came out of the restroom and she was yelling at me. Where have you been? Omo, that day, the woman see my way. I carry my bag. I waka comot. Now my back they see for that church. The pastors were calling. Everybody was calling. I no pick my phone again. Eventually, one of them was able to reach out to me and ask me. I said, you know what? This is what happened. I'm not interested. Wish you guys well. So I have experienced the manipulation. I know what it is, but it's eaten so deep. And we have to keep having these conversations because there's so many people that have been affected by this. There are people that, because they've been in church for so long, they act in certain ways that they don't even understand why. But it's something that must have started very early on for them. And then it would take them years to finally realize that, man, this thing really messed me up. I didn't even know why I know people who were abused by their pastors sexually. I know people like that the pastor lied to them and said, oh yes, if we do this, everything you are looking for, they are looking for children. Usually the case, they're looking for children or something. Pastor will say, they had this vision, and then they will invite the woman. They will use the power of manipulation. Do anything with the woman, and then many, or some that would say they're ill, and the pastor will say, no, don't go to the hospital, let's pray together, and the person will pray and die in that church. Or the people that have money, single women especially, that are wealthy, don't work for. They will now tell them, sow your property, sow all your money, that they will hold that single person by the neck. You are throwing everything you have. You know, was it not recently they had a case of one woman, I don't know the name of the African country, where the families had to get involved. They literally took the girl, single woman, she did because of onto marriage things. She's not married, she's looking for a husband, so they use that one to enter the girl, take her property, take money and all of that, you know. So we just have to keep having the conversation. It's eating really deep down. And to Dominic's point, you know, understand what your fears are, deal with it first before you go, so that no one else will come and call it out for you. You already know, okay, and so I've met someone, a supposed billionaire in Nigeria, that said, oh, you are single, you don't have a ring. I was just praying and I saw you in the mirror. I saw you. I said, Allah about Jesus Christ. What is this? You are who? Who are you seeing? You don't know me before.
Omoye, he will have given you another baby phone now.
You know our ministry, we are the true God really call
We
us.
are the
Yeah.
overseer of common sense.
God.
Yeah. Common Sense Ministries International.
Yeah.
Oh, we are here to heal your
We are healing your
we have your
healing ourselves. God forbid. Which kind of phone be that one? Now Nokia 30. What do they can do now? I don't. My level don't high pass that. Hello.
Okay.
I want me that guy won't make you return. Not me. No, I don't need to give. So there. May I just quick finish my story so everybody else go talk? I beg. The story, our story. This particular guy, he gets me for mind. He owe me for in church mind that they stay. Say this guy cannot go through.
People go.
Hello.
Omoye, go on. You know, Ella is never going to stop. Just keep talking. She'll calm herself.
So he said, oh, I saw you. You were, you know, I was praying and I saw you. And then he now called me, said, oh, that, you know, please, can you come see me? I have something for you. I said, Jesus, what is going on? Anyway, I went to see him. When I got there, he said, you know, I'm looking to get married. I want to settle down. And I think you'll be a perfect fit for me. You know, what blood group are you in? I said, what? I said, that's too personal. Why are you asking me what blood? I don't know that you want to collect my blood and use it to do something. I don't know. I don't trust people asking questions like that. I said, what are you asking for my blood for? He said, no, it's okay. Well, go and talk to your parents. Let them know that someone is interested in you. An adult, grown-ass woman like myself. I should go talk to my parents and ask them if they're okay with me marrying this man. And now quietly, because I wanted to leave his office with all my members complete. I said, okay, I left. I did. When the guy now called me like 2 weeks later, he said, so have you had the chance to talk? I said, no, sir. He said, so have you thought about what I said? I'm not interested. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I feel honored that you look at me and say, yes, you want to, but I'm not interested. He said, why? You don't know what you enjoy. Do you know how much money I have in my bank? I'm a billionaire. I do this, I do that. I say, for your kitchen and your kitchen cabinet members, not me. I'm not interested. Keep it to yourself. So there's a lot of that, you know. You don't eat so deep into Nigerian society. People know they see again. Now, how everywhere you go, spiritual. If not be back door spiritual, now front door spiritual. They can't even mix all of them back. Or Babalawo go do your own for back, do your own for front, become overseer. You go wear red under a garment, wear white on top, carry the kosoka, be waiting they call and put them for neck. Preach in the morning, in the night, go to Patewo for one juju when you get for back, one shrine. So now everybody to your tent, to everybody know who you are. Your God is inside of you, not the outside. People tap into the resources, develop yourself psychologically, be sure of who you are. After all this, I drop my mic. Bagam.
I beg, I ask. So you're not gonna take this boat 3.
Let this go.
Let it go now. The woman is saying the wound is still bleeding. You are not coming and putting salt now. That's not nice.
I will not just expect 100K, but just come.
There is no financial points here.
Anyone who is seeing us laughing, we are not making fun of everybody. We are trying to make light of a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
So it's nobody's making fun of anyone. It's just like we've all made mistakes, you know, we've all, you know, so we just laugh it, so it's not too personal. But to piggyback on what Omoye said, when she talked about manipulation, that's why I put in the chat that manipulation is a stage process. It's not a one-step thing. Like she said, that they will try and, you know, see where you are. They will try and feel their way in. They will start somewhere, and if you say it's okay, then they will go forward, until you say, well, no, that's not okay. So they always start small. That's why when you ignore the small one, you get into bigger ones. You know, they will ask you like Samolu for 100K. If you can give it, the next time they might ask 150, then they'll ask 200, then they'll ask 300. By the time you know it, you are sending them 1 million. But to you, it's not a big deal because they did it slowly. They did it slowly. So you don't realize that you are being manipulated because they know how to do it. And like I was saying, they will dress nice, they will talk nice, because they need to dull your senses. You know, psychologically as a human being, you are more, and it's proven, you know, on psychological studies, when you like somebody or when you find someone appealing, you are more likely to believe what they tell you. So they have to look appealing to your eyes. They have to look well-spoken. They have to look good so that you don't even think that there might be something off with them. So this is what's happening all throughout. And like I said, it's not just in Egypt. There's so many people manipulating. Now we have prosperity, you know, this. But then even when we talk about the wellness business now, you know, you have all this medical problem, but just go and get this one thing and then you'll be fine. Go and get the extract of the, I don't know, something, and then you will be fine. People are buying into that because they are being manipulated. And as adults, we need to understand that life comes with a degree of difficulty. And some degree of difficulty is normal as an adult because you are growing. So there will be difficulty. When you look at the child, when they're crawling and when they're walking, they don't have the same difficulties. It is normal, but because we don't want to accept certain difficulties, we always over-spiritualize things and we want to find a solution now because we don't want to accept that actually it's okay that I'm going through these difficult things. I'll go through it. We don't have emotional resilience, which is a problem. We have spiritual resilience. We can fast for the whole of Africa. We can, you know, drive fast. We can send 100K to pastor. We can do this. I'll get off your case with me. I've done even worse. So
Dominic, leave Samuel alone, I beg.
Samuel is not mad now. It's my person.
Why are you traumatizing the guy?
Why? Can you see? She just.
We will be finding anything that traumatizes Samuel.
No, I am working on how to retrieve my 100K back. Hopefully, maybe.
More power.
You receive more than your 100K. You have a motive.
Can I chime in, guys? Can I?
Okay.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, where does one begin with this? So common sense sisters, I beg, don't open Pandora's box now. So we have to really dig into the box, you know. So I mean, so whether it's sexual, financial, whatever it is, I believe that one of the things that actually fuels the whole thing is there's a power dynamic going on, you know, between the leader and the led. So people wonder, why is it so hard for people to pull away? Well, it is so hard because there is a force, there is something. The people, basically, you abdicated your responsibility as an individual to yourself, then you abdicate your responsibility towards God, the one you claim you serve, and then you pack all of that and then you throw it on this one man. So everything he tells you is gospel. He tells you to jump, you ask him how high, you know. So it's that simple. Some of them are not even very aggressive. They're sort of passive aggressive, you know. They're very subtle in their approach, in the way they do some of these things. If we're talking solutions, can I offer a few solutions real quick? You know, yeah.
So
Okay, great. No, I'm just, you know. All right.
Dominic said it wasn't like Star Wars.
All right, make I pass some of the. So because I grew up in church, guys, like literally, I went to seek out these places myself. My parents were not really churchy people. They were just, it's okay for kids to go to church, you know, because thank God he's not smoking weed or or getting drunk. So if it's church, it's okay. Let him go. You know, that was the attitude my parents had. You know, so but one thing I came out of it, and it was until you're able to do that before you can look inwards and see what's going on. But as long as you're in there, there's a mob mentality going on. There's a herd mentality. So that herd mentality, it basically, so you're there, you're shouting, you're screaming, you're jumping, hey, hey, hallelujah, all of that. You don't see what is happening to you. You don't see it. You don't recognize it until you step out of it. Number one, to the leaders that are going to watch this video, I don't know, today, tomorrow, 100 years from now, please stop presenting yourself as God. You are fallible. You are human. I have seen some of the churches I grew up going. I've seen some, I'm watching some of those leaders, some of the doctrines that they used to teach. Do you know now they're changing them? Because they themselves are evolving. So they're changing their positions on a lot of issues. Okay, it's fine for you to grow, it's fine for you to evolve. How about the people that followed you back then when you were preaching those things? Listen to you, because you didn't say those things as opinion. You said those things as God said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was God that said, not me. I'm not the one telling you. I'm telling you what God said to do. So, but now you've changed though. But those people, you've influenced their lives. So that's one thing. Leaders should learn to just stop. Don't present yourself as God. You're not God. You're human. And so anything that you do or say, realize that people's lives are involved. Number two, leaders should prioritize families. They should prioritize other aspects of their members' lives. Don't make it so that they're all in all. You're the be all and the end all of these people. Don't I've seen cases where people will say, oh, we are after the church service, we have another meeting, and then there's a meeting with the pastor, and then there's another meeting on top of another meeting, and then meetings upon meetings, and other aspects of your lives are suffering. They are suffering. You don't have a social life. You don't have, like everything is completely, and you don't see it because you've been hoodwinked. You are there in the room. Finally, on the parishioners or the laity, as they call them, the members, 2 words: common sense.
Amen.
Common sense. It does not get better than that. When you go somewhere and you're sitting under somebody, please, whatever they tell you, whatever interpretation they give you, come back and apply common sense. Real quick, I was involved in a debate about this whole 10% thing. I'm not going to dive deeply into that. But oh, okay. Thank you, you. You're the militias. Hey, shit. All right.
You have to bind him back. Don't release him.
And anybody can interrupt.
Dominique, what's your own now? You're the militia said to go ahead. Why are you? Why are you putting aside my guy?
Jollof idea of
So it was in another blog somewhere, and then this notable geo in Nigeria had posted that if you don't pay your tithe, and they say pay like you're paying to some mafia boss or something. Anyways, so if you don't pay your tithe, you're cursed financially, and blah blah blah. There's a spiritual obligation and all that. So I went on there and I presented my theory that, look, this is bullshit. Excuse my French. This is BS. This is rubbish. This is not true. And the explanation I gave was that when the law about tithing was given, the whole idea was actually to train these people, these Jews, about the lifestyle of giving. So there is a letter of the law and there's the spirit of the law. But it appears so now we are obsessed with the letter, we're missing the spirit. Now I saw a video. I saw a video of kids drenched in a pool of stagnant water, singing the national anthem.
Very painful.
If that video does not break your heart, I don't know what else will. These kids were drenched in rain, water, singing the national anthem. But I tell you one thing, guys. There are Christians in that community that will take money, cash, walk past that school and take that cash to their geo in church. How about they stop for a moment and say, this is the school our kids go to. This is the future of this community, the future of this country, our own future as parents. How about we just stop for 3 months? Let's gather all our tithes and let's fix the school. let's fix the drainage system, let's fix the infrastructure facilities. That way our kids can have better education and better learning environment. But you can't think that. You know why you can't think that? Because you have been hoodwinked to believe that when you do that society, when you improve the lot of your family members, your kids, that's okay. The real sacrifice is you take that money and bring it to church. That's what we have been told. And what I was saying on that in that debate is that, look, based on the spirit of that law, the whole idea is giving generally. There is a universal law about giving. It doesn't matter where you give it, to a mosque, to a church, it doesn't matter who you give it to. You will receive blessing when you follow the spirit of the law. But here we are so obsessed with the letter of the law. We're so obsessed with, oh, it must be 10%, it must be every. And I'm like, there is no financial curse anywhere.
Yeah.
All the billionaires, where do they pay their tithes to? I want to know. Does anybody know?
They open
Where do
charity.
they pay to?
Babalo. Babalawo,
So,
that's what they
so
want.
our socioeconomic condition as well, they've contributed. This is contributing to this.
Yeah.
People want to believe something. They want to hold on to something, that life could be better, that their situation could be better, and so you give them religion, and then you give them this type brand of religion that we have. They latch onto it, and it's good, and it works for them because that's what they want to believe. So fine. So the last point I'm going to make on that is, you that you're going to church, you that you're under a ministry, let's do not check your common sense at the door when you're going. Please question everything, and don't just believe everything hook, line, and sinker. I'm gonna leave it there for now. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Before anybody comes in, there's this.
Can I
tweet
just
that-
add something? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Can you
you.
hear me?
Can you
Yeah, we
hear
can
us?
hear you. We can hear you.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Sorry, I thought you couldn't hear me. Okay, so I just wanted to piggyback on something that Toby said about, not really having a life outside of your church.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about it now, and it's really funny because, like, when I was living with my parents at the time, Monday you go to church, Tuesday you go to church, Wednesday you go to church, Thursday you go to church, Friday if you're lucky you go to church in the evening and come back. But if it's all night, it don't be for you. But every day you're going to church, every single day, that you don't even have any form of life outside of the church. And I think that's part of the isolation I was talking about earlier, is you're so wrapped up in it that you don't even have time to kind of like step away from it and step back to really think about what is it that I'm involved in. And this kind of thing actually plays in other aspects of our lives too, because if you get a job, for example, you take that same attitude there as well, where you're on that other extreme where my entire life is my job, that other part of your life begins to suffer as a result. I don't think that any human being can exist without having that balance of, there's several aspects of my life that makes me a well-rounded person, that one part of your life should not be the entire existence of your life. So I really like that point, and I think people should take that away, is if you start finding that your religion, and I know we're talking about church, but it could probably apply to almost any kind of religion, is if it's beginning to erode other parts of your life where you don't have time to take care of yourself, you can't go to the hospital if you're sick because you don't have time, your children don't have access to you, or you can't spend quality time with them, you are not physically taking care of yourself by eating healthy or exercising, you're not even taking time to go away and unplug or something, and you're just invested 24/7 in that religion, I think that's a big problem. Because if you put it into anything else, if you put it into your job, if your job is doing that, people will be like, oh, why are you at that job? It's taking away. So why can't we apply the same logic to religion? So I really like what he said, and I think that's one thing we should think about. The other thing I wanted to touch on as well is that when communities don't have access to basic amenities, then they start to substitute those amenities for other things. So, for example, in the Black community in the States, because, not even in the States in general, Black people in the diaspora, at the beginning, when, the black people got released or they were no longer slaves, They weren't given access to healthcare. They weren't given access to all of these things. That even even as they were slaves, it was religion that they had that that they were able to hold on to, right? And then they came out of that, but then without access to all these social services, their pastors or their leaders took the position of those social services. So therapy, counseling, health advice, financial advice. And these people are not equipped to do those things.
Yeah.
So for example, in Nigeria, or not even in Nigeria in general, with religion, if you're having issues with your spouse, you run to your pastor. If you're having issues with your mental health, you run to your pastor. If you want to open business, it's not another pastor we're talking about the other day that he said that somebody later had the name and then he was able to build the high rise. Is the pastor a financial advisor in any way? No, but he still went there. We're going to these people that are so ill-equipped that they don't have the knowledge to do all these things that they're taking on. And the thing is, when you give people that are ill-equipped like that, access to power, access to you,
They abuse it.
it's in human nature for people to start to abuse that or manipulate that. Some people actually might go into these positions with good intentions, but the thing is that power actually corrupts people. And when you are completely subservient to somebody, then you've essentially given them free reign to abuse you or tell you whatever it is that you need to hear to make you feel better in the moment. I have an example of there's this testimony that this person used to say all the time about she was a woman in her 20s or 30s, was bedwetting, and she came to the pastor and she was like, oh, I'm always bedwetting, and I need help, and blah 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 blah, healing, blah 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 blah. And then the pastor was like, oh, I prayed, and then she stopped bedwetting. And I was just thinking about it the other day, and I'm like, when somebody that is grown is still bedwetting, it's actually signs of trauma. So when children are exposed to traumatic issues are exposed to traumatic events as kids, one of the symptoms is those kids bedwet even till adulthood, but they don't know all these things. So you're praying, you're telling the person to buy oil, to rub their head, or all sorts of things, and it's like you're not even equipped to do these things, right? And you're giving these people like unprecedented access to your life, and they probably don't even know what they're talking about half of the time. So this is what I want to say, and I think I said it earlier when I said that I feel like the generations past, they're kind of like whatever, like it's really difficult to change the minds of people that are older. They're set in their ways. It's hard to change mindsets. But I think for our generation, is one thing I'm going to say is protect your children. I know you say, oh, so people say, oh, you like what Toby said, oh, because my child is going to church, is it that at least that they're in church and they're outside smoking and drinking? And I'm like, okay, but do you think that that's any better? If a child is exposed to religion as a young age and they start picking up these toxic traits of because somebody is donating 100,000 every month to my church, then this person has become somebody that we should be treating with respect, but everybody else is a nobody. Or a system where they encourage backbiting, backstabbing. We've all been to churches where the environment is extremely toxic. So you're exposing your children to those kinds of environments. So what I'm going to say is protect your children, protect their minds. Not every day be carrying them to church. So you will see children sometimes you go to church, they're sleeping on the floor. And I'm like, people have access to your kids. This is what causes these types of sexual abuse, where you leave your children with some brother or some daddy, and then they have unprecedented access to your children. Like, come on, if you won't leave your kids unattended in any other place, so why are we just like, oh, because we're in church, we just throw all common sense to the wind? So protect your children, protect where they go, what they listen to, because the church, frankly, I'm going to say, because somebody is in church doesn't mean that they're protected from
Abuse
all
and
over
all
the
of that
world. Yeah, exactly, because we know of several cases where people were born and raised and steeped in the tea of religion. And then the moment they have the chance to go out, peace out, they go and live the kind of lives that they want. So you're not necessarily protecting your children from anything. If anything, you're shielding them and you're protecting them from what the real world looks like, that by the time they get exposed, one, it's either they go to an extreme, or two, they're so ill-equipped that they cannot even function in a regular society. So please, people, let's protect our children. Anyway,
thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Jay.
much, Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dominic or Samolu, do you have anything else to add?
Because for me, I don't really have anything to add. The only funny thing is that I know that when we were kids, when they used to do all this
oh my goodness,
pray every day, I have to
oh
say
my
this.
goodness.
Everybody say their
Oh
own.
my goodness.
As kids,
I think.
Oh wait, yeah, I may not say the deep one now. Well, as kids, you know all those things they say. Oh, I think my parents would say, oh, the resolution now is that we're praying every morning or what every evening before going to bed. So, and they wanted to also be, instead of them to just say only the prayer now, they also wanted to be including the rosary. So now, as it will have it now, when they started those things, now so will they sleep. Once it's time for this thing.
Is that somebody
we will
sleeping?
We will need that with all of them. We'll pray in the living room, but at some point in time, nobody will be responding.
Either somebody is sleeping or somebody is
farting or something.
Gassing or
then I saw it wasn't working, so they built there's a small place in the house, it's like our chapel or something where the family gathers to pray and all that.
They turned our washing machine.
Our washing machine.
Place that was supposed to have washing machine. There was administration and they turned it to a family chapel.
So then we'll sit there and they will take turns. Some members, some of the children in the family, I will not call names. They will make sure that they eat.
They will have food poisoning.
They will make sure that they eat something called Paco Complex, which is a combination of pig milk, Milo, granota, carving biscuits, so that when they get to the place of anointing, they will be messing and farting everywhere.
So there are different ways to escape this as children.
So as a child, some people have to go and watch Disney Channel. That's the time that I know that he wants to come and pray. So when people are releasing gas here and there.
Parents.
So for children that will come and watch this thing, these are
your parents. If your parents are spiritually abusing you, these are tips.
If they are calling you and telling you every day, let's pray, just make your stomach ready.
Yes.
And be releasing things into the atmosphere.
You can lock yourself in the toilet. Different.
Why do I feel like it was Ella that was doing that? I don't know.
It's with me. It was different kids.
Yeah, different children.
But it works. It works.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody has gone.
Anyways,
I think we're rounding up.
We've gone over 3 hours.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, in conclusion, I think what I was going to say is it's not easy to tell people to have critical thinking because the way that manipulation works is that sometimes it appears to be right. Like when Jay gave her story that her mom was struggling to give birth because she was breech, and they brought somebody, and then when that person came, or I think oil or something, then she was able to be delivered. So to the person that's being manipulated or that's being coerced, it's actually what happened has worked, because the person that's being manipulated is reading the story differently than everyone else. Somebody else will look at, there was an issue, the doctor intervened, the midwife intervened, the nurse intervened, and the child was delivered well. The person that's manipulated is not seeing that, but is seeing, there was a problem, I called somebody, they prayed for me, or I called this person, they gave me oil, and then it worked. So in their mind, that is working. So in order for them to actually let go of manipulation, they have to rewrite the whole story. And that's why for a lot of people, it's very difficult, because they're like, how far back in my life do I have to go? Because when somebody manipulates you, it's usually long-standing. It's not just a one-time event. So you now have to go back and unlearn quite a lot. And for some people, it's just too traumatic. So it's easier to just stay, because to admit that for a long part of your life, you've been manipulated, it's very hard. That's why people who've been victimized and traumatized and everything, they really struggle. That's why they say to go to therapy, because when you get to that point in therapy, when they show you certain things, it becomes very, very hard for you to bear. Because you start having negative feelings towards yourself. You start blaming yourself, thinking it was your fault that you were manipulated, that you were too naive, that you were stupid, that you were this, which isn't the case. You were vulnerable. You were not stupid. You were not an idiot. You were vulnerable. So those people, this is what is happening. It's like they say a wrong clock is right twice a day. So to you, you are looking like, well, this clock wasn't right, yes, an hour ago, but the person's looking like, but it's right now. So you are battling with two separate things. And I'll say this to end. Like I always say when we talk about any spiritual abuse, I cannot ending with this, okay? My own spiritual abuse was revealed to me in my own personal life by the Holy Spirit. I'm not evangelizing anybody here. Just telling my story. So I have a firm belief that your personal relationship with God is really great. And I'm always thankful for mine. And I think tomorrow when I get married and I have kids, I will share that with them because that's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I think the difference is to know, like what Jay said, be careful with your children, because the problem with sometimes is that you have familiarity with people just because you share the same faith, and that's not right.
Yes.
You don't know their personality. They might have a different way of raising their children than you do. So don't leave them with people, not just strangers, even if we're familiar people, don't, make the habit of staying with them. Because I don't want to go from one extreme to another one for my life. I'm not talking about anybody else. I never wanted to go from an extreme of spiritual abuse to, something else, because I always knew that the person who abused me, the people who abused me were not God. They were human beings posing as God. So that's when I made that difference. My life really changed. So I want to thank all of you people who came in, and also you two ladies, even though you were so misbehaved during this, it was atrocious.
What did you do?
It's the story.
Oh my God.
I'm just joking.
Talk to us. What do we do?
I'm just joking, but I'll come out now so you can do your conclusion.
Thank you so much, Dominic.
Thank you so much. We're so glad that despite everything that you were able to show up, because I know that this topic is very important to you. You're among the people that inspired the topic. Say you want to talk so much. So we really appreciate you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, at 3:20, no,
3 hours over 20 minutes.
Yeah,
we went over an hour overboard today.
Yeah,
but
and
I enjoyed it.
And we could not interrupt people's stories because you people asked for the topic. So our own is to listen, and then people will come and listen and hear your stories.
Thank you for everybody that called in today, and to our new people who called in as well for the first time.
Yes, we appreciate you all. And to everyone in the comment section, for those who have been commenting back,
even silent watchers,
we thank you.
Thank you for liking the video.
Yes,
because we trust that you have liked the video.
Yes,
and then you're going to share it as well.
And then you're going to subscribe if you have not subscribed. For those that will be watching it later, make sure you leave your comments. Just always remember that when you comment on videos, that people come and also read your comments as well. So that's your own way of dispensing common sense and sharing it around the world. I think there's a lot of lessons from today. Parents, please guide your children and protect your children. If you don't know anything, don't mind me.
Your kids doing hot chocolate, that's fine.
That's fine. Daddy duties. We absolutely understand. Yeah. So for the parents, please protect your kids. You've heard from Jay and you've heard from Dominic.
Everybody.
Protect your kids. If they tell you that they don't want to be around a certain religious person and all that, listen to them. Don't hush them. Do not hush your kids.
Let them ask questions.
Yes. Women, stop putting priorities of church activities before yourself and before your family. Don't come and be saying, oh, my pastor is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, before my husband or before my relationship.
Yeah, even pastors, don't neglect your family and say we are doing the church administration of God. No, your duty is to your household first.
Because if the house is not stable, why should you come out and be talking to
inspire other people?
Congregation members, those of you that practice bullying, I'm going to look up my word, bullyism, to be bullying people, to be gossiping about people, to be shaming people. Those of you that will be saying that some spirits are telling you that this bad spirit, you have to leave this place.
Always
or because you want
negative vision.
See negative vision, or somebody that is pregnant, you say, oh, something minister to you that the baby in the womb will die and all those things. You better desist from all those rubbish. Because we are using this platform to be calling all of you out. You must hear it one way or the other. Who again did I leave out? The religious leaders.
All you that will be dining with the evil people in politics.
Yes, those of you, especially in Nigeria, those of you that are pastors,
you'll be telling
bishops,
you'll be telling Nigerians to pray for wicked leaders.
You know evil, you will not speak against evil. You will go behind on a closed doors and be collecting money and come and be manipulating your members.
Who will be a governor, who will be a president. Your reward is in he who you lie against.
Hey,
Yeah,
you see,
so
that's a very deep
it's in he
one.
who you lie against. Not be
You better desist. The common sense sisters and the common sense
I've
squads.
spoken to you
Was
today.
spoken for you. Receive common sense. Toby said, don't leave your common sense at the
Door.
door.
Take it wherever you go.
People to the mountain. Gigi has been taking her own sins. Take it to the mountain. Take it everywhere. Know about your time. If you are a member of a church,
Learn from
and then
young meat, know God for yourself.
if you're a member of a church and then they say they want to suspend you, let MB story inspire you. That is a sign that, okay, I need to have a balance in my life. In life, there's time for everything. Anything that is sapping your time is not healthy for you. We hope that with these many points of
you've been able to dispense common sense
from Daddy Gio today
and Mommy Gio
and Mommy Gio
today.
Until we see you next week.
We will see you next week, 2 p.m. same time. We don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll post the post normally as we do in the community tab to go like check it out. So thank you so much to everyone that came in today. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comment in the comment section. And until we see you next time, make common sense never depart from you. Adios.
Thank you, Baba T.
Baba T.
Chucky.
Baba T. Thank you, Samuli. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night or afternoon. Bye-bye.